Swing, swing, swing. There is no intro. Fuck the intro. We don't need that shit. Yes, I know I started the stream. I probably demonetized it already right by saying fuck within 10 seconds of it. I don't care. We're doing this shit this way. We're doing it and we're doing it live tonight. And it's the 75th episode of Toxic Tuesday. And I'm so happy you can all be here right away. And believe me when I'm saying I'm flattered and I'm partially even pleasured by all of you hanging out with us tonight. And I even got a panel of dudes with me who are going to enhance said pleasuring when we talk about this movie. And yes, like all your Toxic Tuesdays before it, it will probably go to Rocky and Apollo levels of territory because, of course, it will. I mean, come on, look at it. See, that's going to be that times several dudes. But how are you all doing tonight? I'm so happy to have you here. Let's do some quick roundabout shout outs. What's up, Jonah Hex, Vince Woolmack, Phantom Outsider, Eric K, Yaknomino, D Bud Martin, Fat Elvis. What's up, Fat Elvis? Pinochet's Helicopter Tours. My guy, just another red shirt who we will already miss on the show, but we cannot wait to have you back. Jay Forte, Stuart Mitchell. What's up, guys? Thank you all for being here and being here early and right away. I greatly appreciate it. So, guys, are you ready to talk about? I've always said this about Wayne's World. If you don't like Wayne's World, you're wrong. That's it. That's the take on the movie. I feel like this movie is just it's one of those movies. Obviously, I've seen it 800,000 of times, and there's just so much for us. Like it's just obviously it's a movie that spawned off a lot of comedy skits from SNL, but also is a movie that emphasizes on breaking the fourth wall, being self-aware, launched a lot of careers, had many legendary cameos galore, and also some of the most legendary moments in cinema. I mean, for me, Wayne's World has it all. And I have lived with this movie, man, for so long. For so long. So for me to actually talk about it now, it's like crazy. And also, I lived by one of the scenes where they filmed in this movie. I will point it out when we talk about this movie, but there was a scene in here. It's a very legendary scene. And I lived by one of those parts, and I will mention it. It's so cool to brag about that because I remember like being a kid thinking, oh, what's that? Oh, hey, I lived by that. Oh, that's cool. It happened. It was a thing. So, anyways, with all that said, let's bring in our panelists here. And what's up, deleted scenes of Phantom Outsider? Let's bring in our guys here. Marty with a C, who now hit the Fortune 500 club.
Oh,
How
yeah.
are you, sir?
Thank you. Doing awesome. Let me get my back. I'm working on the getting the slideshow ready for everybody. Yeah, we should have a good party tonight with this movie, right? And
we're gonna need it.
yeah, and that's pretty cool. You were live kind of near some of those places, yeah. So you didn't happen to have a pacer though when you were driving around there, right? No.
Okay, so well, there's pacers by us actually. There was.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those. I mean, a lot of times these Saturday night movies don't turn out so well, but this is one of the times where it was pretty damn good, right? So, yeah, it's a fun movie. So, and a lot of cameos. I forgot, I haven't seen this in a long time, so a lot of fun cameos too. So, cool movie. So, I shall get this slideshow ready to roll. But no, there weren't too many opportunities for our buddy to appear tonight, though. So, for no nudity in this movie. So yeah, but what are you gonna do? So
well,
nothing
good.
to cover up.
That would make Mad Mardigan happy. He
Right?
he doesn't need that. It's all about the men. That's how it works here on Toxic Tuesday. It's all about the men.
Yep.
It's true. Is
Yeah.
it not, Mark? Is it not?
It's true. It's very true. Yeah, it's very true. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna cue this clip up a lot tonight. I think.
Oh yeah. I know. I was before you bring in our guys. I just want to announce that me and Stell were watching Rocky 3 last week. I'm just
you were,
watching.
yeah.
I think Rocky and Apollo were like working out together, sweating in shorts, running at the beach together, doing the little jumps together. Like they're really close. I'm like, see, like this is secretly a love story because Adrian just kind of got pushed to the wayside for the love of Rocky and Apollo, and then the fourth movie was the Revenge of My Love with Rocky avenging Apollo.
Yeah.
So it was just a 2-part love
Rocky's
story in
Rocky's
disguise.
all love story, right? Nothing with boxing or sports. It's total love story. Yep.
And she's like, we're just watching my seat. Do you feel that homoeroticism? It's just
very romantic night you had. I'm
very,
sure.
Very.
That, yeah.
Oh yeah, especially
on after that.
All right. Anyways, let's bring in our other dudes. And this man needs to party on very hard, Mr. Keto Simple. How are you, Dustin?
I'm wonderful, Nick. How are you? And Mark?
Very good. Welcome.
Our amazing chat. All those fucking crazy people out there. Yes. We watched this movie the other night again, and like, oh, it's so good.
Right? Even though it came out 31 years ago. And even though it's such a product of its time, it still holds up. Even though it reeks of being purely early 90s. Because this was 92 when this came out. Because they filmed in 91. And there's a reason I have to mention the years because there's a very specific character. But yeah, it's like you watch it, even that reeks of a time, but somehow it still works, man. Despite it
there was
all.
a thing you were talking about, like filming locations and shit you live near and stuff, or did live near. I just kind of want to know, like, watching that is like very Aurora, very like. I mean, even some of it kind of looked like it could be Chicago, but
I'll tell you which parts actually are. I will know, and believe it or not, not a lot of it actually is. But I will.
Well,
know.
I mean, I know there's a couple of scenes. And that are obviously Chicago, like the Chicago River, like where they're looking at the office buildings and stuff. But I mean, that's like over by the House of Blues, like the view you get there and stuff. But yeah, like some of the stuff hopefully we'll talk about deeper into this stream, and hopefully some of it's still there. I mean, who knows? I mean, honestly, I don't know. I haven't been to Aurora in like who knows 100 years, but
all right. Well, let's bring in other guys here.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on,
hey,
that 70s rock band.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks, Nick, once again for doing this marvelous show. Is this the 75th?
75 episodes.
Rock on.
That's how old 70s is.
That's right. Almost soon. Very soon. But the monkey gland injections are helping. So this movie, it's timeless. Because I showed to my grandchildren the clip in the car with Bohemian Rhapsody, and they love that clip, and they just can't get enough of it.
Oh, we'll be talking about
and
that.
And they're like 5 and 3-year-old grandchildren, and they just love that clip. Oh, sure, play it again. You know, they just, and they're all going like this. they just immediately got it. So I do love this movie. It's interesting at the time it was released when I was still in the UK. Mike Myers wasn't that well known, although he had done some British television before SNL. But so it was kind of a like an unknown quantity to go and see this, but it was wonderful. Still is. But they never answered the question whether or not Bugs Bunny in a dress is attractive.
We'll answer that question.
They did. I think they did. I think.
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah, you pay attention to their expressions. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great movie, and I'm so glad we're doing this.
Oh, I am too. How are you doing, Tom Connors of everything?
Noah's Arcade presents Nick's World, it's party time. Excellent! That's right, it's Nick with his co-host Mark D with a C. Party on, Mark, and party on, Nick.
So I get to be Garth, right? I forgot my wig tonight.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
I guess.
Tom, it's good to see you an hour later. Look at that hat.
Yes, thank you. Huge fan of this film. This was my era of SNL. I mean, I'm sure a couple people on our panel feel the same way. But what I mean by that is the cast, the humor, it connected with our generation. Wayne's World was the first SNL film, technically, and it was the most successful to this day. I don't think one's been even more successful than that. It took everybody by surprise. I don't think anybody expected it to be this huge hit. It's one of the first PG-13 comedies I ever remember being a sell-through VHS at the time, meaning you could buy it right away when it came out, because it was so successful. And you're right, 70s. The reason the film still works is it's so timeless. Even though there's some jokes that are hinged on some things, like the only joke that really dates the film at all is the Newprint joke. And that's only because that's the only one of those products that's still technically not around. Otherwise, it works. And it's what doesn't work about the sequel so much, which, don't get me wrong, I love the sequel. But the difference between the first film and the sequel is most of the jokes in the sequel are very of that time. There's a lot of Jurassic Park jokes and a lot of other things that are
and stuff like that.
And the Doors of that, like, so it's a lot of popular things of that era to where it's a little bit more of that time to where you're right, Nick, this is a slice of early 90s life, but at the same time, the jokes are loose enough and they're kind of not dated in quotations. Even the Terminator joke still lands, right? Like most people get it.
Good.
I mean, it's like I said, the only one that I could see that's kind of dated is the Newprint joke. Is the only one.
Get to Rampart. We got to get him to Rampart.
Yeah.
I think
I'm a
the
huge
characters,
Emergency fan, but yeah.
Yeah, the two characters are so lovable, really, that that transcends the era that the film was made in. You like the two guys. It's just they're funny, they're sweet, they're lovable. So that translates across any
And I know
era.
there's some debate about the Blues Brothers. Here's the thing. The Blues Brothers, even though Dan and John performed them on Saturday Night Live, they didn't technically originate there. They made them do them as the Bees, though, but they did that outside of SNL, and there's no producers involved with the Blues Brothers that are involved with SNL. So, like, if Lorne Michaels was one of the producers, then I'd say, so I say technically, that's why I say technically.
They're more like a musical guest on SNL almost.
Yeah, and there's a connection. Yeah. There's connections, but then there's the other problem with it is that one of the main members of the band, Paul Schaefer, was not allowed to be a part of the film because of his duties for SNL. So there's
bloody Canadians. That's why.
So in that respect, it's like, well, then it clearly isn't an SNL film, or they would have been able to have Paul in the film. So that didn't work out. But
he made it into the second one, didn't he?
Yeah, he did finally make it in the second one. But yeah, no, this film, I saw it in theaters, I don't know how many fucking times. 6 times at least.
I can't even imagine, Tom.
My buddies
see a guy like you.
Went. Yeah.
This had to have been ritual for you. This had to have been straight. Hey, what are you doing today? Oh, we're gonna just go see Wayne's World again. No big deal.
I wore the soundtrack out. I mean, I won a lip sync contest with my buddy doing we did a Bohemian Rhapsody bit. Mm-hmm. And then we did it the next year after that when Weird Al did his version with that one. Just as kind of a send up, but no, it was just one of those movies that came at a time and it just rocked the world. And yeah, and we have a Shagsworth with us.
And that said, debuting on Toxic Tuesday, I always refer to him as the Shagsworth. How are you doing, the Shagsworth?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. You guys are the first people to see my new office background. So figured I was really busy the past month doing all this stuff, and since I was going to be on Toxic Tuesdays the very first time, I was like, you know what? We're just going to get it all in order. It's not quite done, but I got what I could done for you guys tonight.
So we get you raw then. We get the raw deal with you.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So did you bring your ranch for this?
No, not yet.
See, that's how raw it is. That we don't even get the ranch. This is pure raw, the Shagsworth.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never felt such raw dealing in my life.
He's naked, really. It's the naked Shagsworth.
Yeah, I'm not wearing anything from the waist down. I'm wearing my t-shirt, and that's all you get.
Under those clothes,
we're naked. Seeing what Shagsworth is worth today.
No, man, this is great. Thanks for having me on. I'm probably the youngest person here, so this movie, I was pretty young when this movie came out, but even when I was young, I remember watching this and just loving it. And then as I got a little bit older and, watched it more and more, it's just a classic film. I feel the same way. Like you guys have already said it all so far. But as far as like an SNL adaptation, it was probably the best thing that I've seen. Besides It's Pat, maybe, it's probably right behind It's Pat. Other than that,
That was a prophecy.
Cinematic masterpiece.
It was a prophecy, not a movie.
Right. No, man, I'm really excited to sit with you guys and love what you do, Nick, and thanks for having me here.
It's a pleasure to finally have you on. I've been wanting to get you on, but I want it to be the right movie because I don't really just bring people on just to have them. Like, yeah, it's cool to have the guys I hang with and I rock with, but I want to make sure, like, I want to make it make sense. And I'm like, man, the Shagsworth seems like he would like this movie. I'll ask him.
Yep. Yes. Good choice. You know me, sir.
That's what's up. So, anyways, yes, for me, Wayne's World. I mean, I think this is definitely like if I had to rank about movies I've seen the most, this is definitely up there. Because I think in like 4th and 5th and maybe in 6th grade, it was definitely part of like the nightly ritual. If this was at a time too when like I saw a few years after it came out, and this is when like Pizza Hut was big on like the big New Yorker, and this is when N64 was red hot, and everyone was up late at night drinking Mountain Dew, playing Mario Kart, and then when you want to put on a movie after all the gaming, you would put on Wayne's World. And it was just like, it was the perfect thing because you had a perfect cast with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. You also had, I feel like he doesn't get enough acknowledgement. Rob Lowe is excellent as a businessman who's.
Well, it was kind of controversial for him to be in the movie at the time too, because of all the shit he was dealing with. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He had a
the videotape and all that shit.
Time. Some sexy time got out.
Now that's kind of just normal stuff, right?
Dude, if you've never seen
was ahead of the curve.
Rob Lowe, whoa. If you guys haven't seen the roast of Rob Lowe, go check it out.
Oh, I actually have not seen that. But
it's brutal.
My gateways to Rob Lowe were this movie and Tommy Boy.
You want to rephrase that? Your gateway to Rob Lowe?
Yeah, gateway to Rob Lowe. I'm going to say it again, even louder. Was this movie and Tommy Boy, because in both movies, he is an absolute fucking prick, but he's so damn good at it. Like, it almost made me, because, like when you're a kid, you don't really know about it. Like, it made me think he was that way in real life. And then I saw a clip of him outside movies. I was like, wow, I really hated him. He actually seems like an okay guy. But I had this image in my head that this guy is a douchebag because he's good at acting like like a shitty human being between this and Tommy Boy.
He kind of gets his comeuppance on the whole Hollywood, for kind of coming after him the way they did, because in this movie he portrays the Hollywood asshole better than anybody else, literally selling something he doesn't fucking own,
doesn't understand in any way, no connection.
Exactly. Like he plays everything to a T to he's trying to fuck Wayne's girlfriend.
I remember him way back in The Outsiders, which is a great movie.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen him.
And then we got Brian Doyle Murray. It's Noah's Arcade.
But I like about this is these guys, Wayne and Garth, are doing what we do now, except they're doing it in local cable. Then,
yeah, yep.
Today,
I said you have to do it. I've said they should do a Wayne's World 3, but they're on YouTube now.
Yeah, they have to be on YouTube. Yeah,
like, it would have to be.
Didn't someone say that they were in talks to do it? Like I could have swore I heard recently that Mike Myers and Dana Carvey had like buried the hatchet enough to where they were thinking about maybe doing something like that.
They're poor enough, you mean they're poor enough?
Yeah. Right.
But no, that is true. It's because I know Myers has talked about that, but he's also talked about doing a fourth Austin Powers, and yes, an actual fourth Austin Powers, not a reboot, but a fourth movie.
Maybe that's what it is.
I wouldn't personally mind because I actually like all three of the Austin Powers. So So I wouldn't mind saying a fourth movie. I'd be down with that, but will
The
that
problem
happen?
is Michael Myers is hard to work with. That's the
Oh, I
Yes.
have heard
I
this.
think
He keeps
would be
trying
cool.
to kill you constantly,
That's
and
right,
if you got a
Michael.
babysitter, I mean, I
I
figure we
think
better
what
get the
would
Mike
be-
Myers stories out of the way, or jokes out of the way
Yeah.
earliest.
And yes,
I think-
Mike.
Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
I would say I think what would be cool, like introduce, like if you could get them back together, like Wayne and Garth, but it's like their kids starting a YouTube channel.
There's
Well,
no
then
way
you're-
Garth would have kids.
Then you're getting into the new like Bill and Ted like territory, which that's what they did. They took
Yeah,
their
I
kids
agree.
and, you know,
I didn't even see that yet.
it was
I figured it would be extra cringe and couldn't watch it.
it kind of is.
And I have a
It was.
feeling if Wayne had a kid, his kid would literally just be like him. And like all you would have to be is like, how are you doing, son? I'm good, Dad.
Just a mini
Excellent.
version of him.
Yeah, and you just see him every once in a while.
Right.
How are you doing today, son? I got an A. Excellent.
Yeah, it would be kind of like that scene in what's that movie? Dude, Where's My Car? With the sweet and the dude in the sweet. That's what would be. Except imagine that, but for the entire movie between Mike Myers' son. That would be that conversation. But yeah, but 90 minutes long. So yeah, maybe in that regard, that would definitely be something that'd be like, yeah, I don't know about that, but extreme close up. Whoa!
Yeah, they really did capture the zeitgeist of guys like us, though, with the basement and the guitars and all the other gear.
Yes.
Yep.
It's just so
Super
plush.
basic setup, but that's the thing. It's all run
Games.
just by a bunch of average dudes. There's
Yeah.
no big sponsor involved. It's just dudes who are doing this out of sheer, like, a labor of love because they
What does that sound like?
Yeah, but the hockey gear and the guitars and the games, the video games, this is how we lived.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Oh, the suck cut.
I surely hope it doesn't suck.
Uh,
No, and I mean, in all real, like they're like Mike Myers is a bit difficult to work with, from what I've heard. That's another reason why he has a hard time getting a movie made anymore.
Oh, I've heard, yeah, and the
And then you also have the thing with Dana Carvey too, where they don't get along because that actually predates this movie.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Because Dana got the script for the movie and he's like, I'm not doing this. And everybody's like, what do you mean you're not doing this? You're Garth. He's like, then hire somebody else. He's like, what is wrong? Like, why you guys, what's the deal? You know, he's like, I have nothing to do in this fucking movie. I'm hardly even in it. It's like, what the fuck is the point of me being in this movie? So Mike went back and rewrote the script to give Garth more to do. Went back to Dana, and Dana was happier then, but then he kind of was not as happy. You know, again, same thing happened with the sequel. You know, script came, didn't have much for Dana Carvey, so they went back and worked it in a little bit more, and those two did not see eye to eye on a lot of things. And you got to remember, these are two major egos, right? Like,
Yeah.
that kind of shit happens, but it'd be nice to see a Wayne's World 3 if they have actually buried the hatchet. But I haven't heard about Mike Myers getting any better to work with, though. So, you know, after the Love Guru and shit, like nobody in Hollywood wants to really work with him. So.
Isn't that funny how we've heard that with a lot of comedy guys? Because Bill Murray, Chevy Chase, Mike Myers, like a lot of the comedy, the irony of the guys who are the funny guys are the guys where, well, it's definitely it's a work process to work with these guys. And Brian Bart, to answer your question, I can't answer everything Dana Carvey's
still
doing, but I
working.
do know he does some podcast stuff. I do know
still
Still
that.
does stand up and
He does
yeah.
stand up. Yeah.
There you go.
You know,
There's another answer.
that Love Guru didn't fail because of Mike Myers. It failed because it was the Toronto Maple Leafs and everybody hates them.
Oh god.
So I rest my case.
Look at well, speaking of comedians that are going to look at Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, right, for years, and they finally allegedly, reconciled just before Harold passed away. But I don't know. But I guess a lot of Hollywood people, you hear things, but you wonder if it's true or not. But some of it's got to be have some grain of truth there if that many people come back with the same story. But you can't, from these characters though, you would never imagine it. They're such good actors.
I mean, that's
so,
the irony
yeah.
of the whole thing is you want to be famous. You want your job to be fun and pretending to be people for lots and lots of money just to be an asshole. to work with, to make it harder to do what you want to do, to make money pretending to be people.
Yeah, and I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I mean, it could have some of it could have been Dana Carvey jealousy on Dana's part, because I mean he was one of the bigger players on SNL, but yet every movie he tried doing besides this didn't work.
Mhm.
You know, he had Opportunity Knocks and what was that other one where he forgot who he was? I'm trying to remember the name of the movie now. But Clean
Master of
Slate and
Disguise,
some other
too,
ones.
dude.
Master of Disguise was a huge flop.
That turtle scene.
Yeah, that was a flop.
And there's a
Huge
key
flop.
part here that Mike Myers does write stuff, whereas I don't think Dana Carvey writes any of the films that he's in. So, writers
None of
tend to-
those, other than maybe, I don't know if he did have anything to do with Master of Disguise, but
So
Well,
when you're the writer and you've kind of come up with the idea, I guess you're going to start to try
Well,
and take more and more ownership of it.
to be fair, Master of Disguise does have a cult following, but here's the thing, most people don't remember this. It opened up against Scooby-Doo. That was the thing. Yeah.
Did it really?
Yep, because
when
when he was promoting it, I remember it because he's like, yeah, Scooby-Doo comes out the same weekend, but we're just like, Scooby don't, and go see Master of Disguise instead. You know, and it just, it didn't work out well for him, so, yeah.
Oh, that is something else.
I still live with my parents.
Which you don't see the entire movie, by the way. You know he lives with his parents, and he acknowledges, it's bad, it's sad, but you don't see him at all. And I remember that's something I did piece together for quite a few years of my life. One day I was just watching late, and I'm like, hold up. Are his parents in the movie? And then I remember when I would do my rewatch, I was like, holy shit, his parents aren't even in the movie.
It's like the Bob and Doug McKenzie movie, Strange Brew. You never really see their parents, even though they exist. You hear them.
You do hear them, though, in Bob and Doug.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so for reference here, so obviously this movie takes place in Aurora, Illinois. Now, where it was actually shot, I'm going to clarify for you all here, because so there was a portion of this that was shot in LA. There was minuscule bits shot in Chicago, but there's also a bit that was shot in a small town called Berwyn. So if you're a fan of Svengoolie, he uses that phrase Berwyn a lot. That's because that's an actual town, and Svengoolie was from Berwyn. So Berwyn, this and then right here where the rock out to Queen, they're passing by actual parts
That's
of
Berwyn.
Chicago.
So is that Illinois as well? No? That's Illinois.
Berwyn is in Illinois.
Right,
It's a town right next to Chicago, within a few minutes driving distance. It's right next to it. Payless Shoe Source. That's on the north side of Chicago.
You know
that? I've lived by that area. Judy's, old school hot dog burger joint. There's another one called Joe's. I did some Postmates deliveries for. Now there's also a stack of cars that they pass by in the scene that they rock out to. That stack of cars.
Yeah, what's
is
that?
That's in Berwyn. I lived by that stack of cars. I remember one time, because I remember that stack of cars was in back of a McDonald's. And I remember walking. This was at a time where kids could just walk out in the open in Chicago and Berwyn. I remember walking to McDonald's to get food as a kid. And I remember look at that stack of cars. I'm like, hold up. That looks like the stack of cars that's in Wayne's World.
Nick, be honest. Be honest. No. You lived in that stack of cars, didn't you?
I wish. Dude, I tried climbing up that shit. Obviously, it didn't go too well, but I tried. Didn't. It was definitely something I didn't do, but they knocked it down in 2008 or 9. That stack of cars, they knocked it all down. But a lot of these buildings here, with all these cool, with the big Indian guy and all the cool architecture, a lot of that's still there actually in the city. That's one of the parts of the city that's still cool. Seeing a lot of the old school buildings, because nowadays a lot of the architecture that's made for a business, all the buildings now just kind of look the same. Whereas. And I get why they do that. I mean, because in case the place goes out of business, they can just slap the business label. Where it's nowadays, if you had a company remember Circuit City, where they had that big plug on the front. Nowadays, it's well, how do you put something there? Because now everyone's just going to think of Circuit City. So I get why they do that, but at the same time, just nowadays it's such a bummer, because I like seeing buildings where they had a specific design made to cater to the business of the building opening up. Kind of remember when Pizza Huts all used to have the hat? when you know you.
Yeah, it's
drive
kind of
by
like when a
Pizza Hut.
Chinese buffet comes in and you know they were a Hardee's, no matter what they do.
Wangs? Are you talking about Wangs, Tom?
Yes, Wang's Chinese restaurant and discotheque.
So the power of this movie, though, is that it made Bohemian Rhapsody a #1 hit again.
I was going to get to
Oh,
that. Thank you, 70s
yeah,
rock.
go for
It's
it.
one of the
Go for
few
it. Take it
times
away. Go for it. Go
in
for it.
history where that has happened. I was gonna say you're gonna have to back this up because we're missing like two very important lines in
fine.
the film, and then the whole Bohemian Rhapsody thing. Because I was gonna ask 70s about that, how rare that's happened in the history.
Devil
that,
music. This is devil music.
Yeah, it's very, very rare. I mean, soundtracks for movies are big, but usually the soundtrack is, well, a lot of the time before it was contemporary with the movie. This one is
Lot of
actually
times,
taking
yeah.
an older
Cermak
song
Avenue, Berwyn,
and-
Illinois, Cermak Avenue,
and a
right
band
there.
that's had been gone for a while. Freddie Mercury was already dead, and yes, that caused
He
a bit
died
of a
like
he
the
had
year
just
before
passed,
that, right?
actually.
But-
Yeah, the
but
year
it just-
before. Yeah,
But it just launched the song right back at to #1 in the British charts.
and
The power
American
of
charts.
the power of just this one scene was enough. I mean,
The scene
that's
is
Yeah,
so good.
this scene was so much a big piece of not just
Yeah.
this movie, but pop culture at the
yeah,
time.
it created. It's just, if it hadn't been in this scene in that way, if it had just been in the background of a movie, it
And the
would have-
right song. The song was everything. It had to be Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, 'cause
Right,
Mike
like, it couldn't
Myers
have been anything
requested
else.
it. Mike Myers
Yeah.
requested that be that way. Apparently, the studio did push back on him for that because they said it would be expensive.
You want to know why?
Yeah.
Guess who
Why?
happened to own Queen's music at the time? And I think they still do, not 100%.
the Alice Cooper in the background. Alice Cooper.
Yeah, Alice Cooper signed.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Disney,
Disney had just bought all of the Queen catalog at this time.
I did not know that.
It's rare
They
that one
bought it, yeah.
sequence like that would be enough to immediately catapult something right back into the forefront of everyone's consciousness.
Yeah.
It's different from making like an MTV style video, like Take My Breath Away.
They
or
didn't
something
have a
from
video.
Maverick.
That's the
No,
other thing
it was
too,
just
70s.
one
Yeah.
scene, yeah.
It's not like they had a
fascinating.
new music video for it or anything like
That's
that.
right.
I mean, it just shot right up the charts. Like nowadays, we're used to seeing some older songs, but believe it or not, there's another point to this. This song went to #1 for a third time when Bohemian Rhapsody came.
Yeah, that's right. But the power of this one scene, as I say, my grandchildren, when I showed them this on YouTube, they couldn't get enough of it. They just wanted to watch it again and again. This one scene with the
It
head.
really
Well,
is one of those scenes that it's such an iconic moment in
We
movie
bypassed one of the
history.
greatest line too, where
Not
if you're
just
gonna
the 90s.
spew into this.
Spew into this,
Oh,
yeah. I think too, like somebody said it earlier, like this movie, like in almost every part, and I think why again it's timeless. And I think Tom, you've already said this, is just this really captures like what people like us like enjoy. Like, oh, getting with your buddies, on your favorite music, just jam going.
This is
down
what
the
we
street.
did, right? Like, yeah.
Like it's such a great like it just makes you feel good, and especially people like us. And I remember growing up, and like again, I'm younger than you guys, but growing up and knowing like this is the kind of stuff I'm into, and like, is this my future? Like, is this what I'll be doing? Like, I'm stoked.
Right, dude. I thought the same thing.
For a few years, man. This was the thing to do, man.
Yeah.
You just cruise
Guys.
around with your buddies and hang out, and
You could totally
Listen to
identify with these
Queen.
guys. Yeah.
Rock out in the car, get to the next concert that you're gonna go to. Yeah, this felt like the ultimate, like, this is what I want to do with my life as far as party with the boys type of dream. Because it's just the guys all getting together, being loud, being rowdy, being noisy, enjoying each other's company, living in that moment. That's another thing with that
and
Queen
they're
song too.
Cranking the
Place to live.
8-track in the car.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
And their
Yeah. The good old
concerns are the concerns we would have with life, not all the bullshit stuff that was way over there somewhere where it's in politics or whatever. This concerns were, how can we have a good time, and how can we listen to the music we want, and where do we get to the gig, and how do we make their show? And it's how we lived. It is how we lived. It's very identifiable.
Myers was actually singing the song. Out of all the guys, he was actually singing the song. And also, apparently these guys all had really bad neck like sores from this, which for me that's nothing, because I could do this any day, because Dustin can attest this. Guys like
well, I
us-
think you're right, because like I think by this take or whatever, if
We're
you
built
watch
for
Mike
this.
Myers, he's doing the
Yeah,
Thing like that because his neck was really starting to hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. The other guys are all in. That's still up, by the way. That giant Indian
Drunk
guy,
guy.
that's still up there.
Oh,
That
that's still
eye
up there?
care thing, that is still there in Chicago.
You know what's funny is
knocked it down
I'm like
recently.
writing the third movie in my head right now as we're going along. Okay, here's how what I got so far. He's got a YouTube show, like we said. We got the YouTube show going. He's got a kid, like I said. Everything he does in his life, his kids. Because I even have the scene where he goes to have a talk one-on-one with his son, and he's like, it's really bland because it's like nothing wrong with his son's life and everything's perfect. It's a lot of him just sitting there going, "Yeah, good talk, son. Yeah, good talk, dad." Like,
I mean, this would really work. This would really work because of how, I mean, the show is shot in analog in his basement when he's in his 20s, and then now he's aged 30 years. He's like trying to regain some glory, maybe reconnects with Garth or whatever. And they're like, well, there's this YouTube thing, like you do it online, like.
Shags, my idea is like nothing has changed for them in their last 30 years of their lives. Everything is the same. His kid's great. Everything's perfect, even though his kid's exactly like he is.
Yeah. And
they're doing this YouTube thing, but what happens is all of a sudden they get famous because something goes viral.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you have kind of the similar thing that happened in the first film where they start to change and the inverse of money and fame and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And all Wayne needs to realize by the end of the movie is that everything he was doing before was fine. His son was perfect. His wife was happy. He was happy in his life. He was still doing everything he wanted to do, making a show with Garth and all that stuff. So they just kind of went back to that or whatever. I've already written the film in my head. It's not that hard.
There
to
it
do.
is. Stack of cars. There it is. That's
awesome,
what I live by. That
Tom,
was in a
you gotta do
parking
it, Tom.
lot. That was in a parking lot that had a McDonald's, a Walgreens, and a bunch of our like regular like local businesses. I remember because the McDonald's at the location always fucked up our food. I think I could be wrong. I can't remember if it was me or one of my brothers, but one of us asked for a bunch of food and they gave like a bag of napkins. That McDonald's always fucked up all the food. It was right across the street too.
They always fuck you in the drive-thru.
Dude, no, yeah, that McDonald's always fucked shit up. It was on a daily basis that they did. But
now the donut place they go to, that's a real place, or at least used to be in Chicago too, isn't it?
It's not a real place in Chicago, but it was based off a real place.
There is
a Stan's Donuts. That's it's like a Chicago franchise company. It's a similar name, but different idea.
So they showed Joe's earlier. They showed a place called Joe's. I've been to
Chicago
Joe's, but I think it's in a different place now, isn't it?
Nope, that Joe's is still there. I was there
because I've been in it
4 or 5 years ago. I was at that Joe's.
Grand
There
Avenue?
is a Stan's Donuts. This is based off a hockey player named Stan, whereas there's a regular Stan's Donuts in the Chicago metropolitan suburb area.
So this is just Mike Myers being a Canadian, basically.
Yes.
Was it Stan Mikita? No, Stan Mikita.
I got to get some hockey in here somehow.
Stan Mikita, I think, wasn't it?
You guys smell the bacon?
Yep.
Smell that bacon?
It's Stan Mikita. Yeah.
Now, does anybody get the part of this whole joke of the whole thing with Ed O'Neill wanting to kill himself? Because they open this plate, they keep it open 24 hours a day now, or whatever it is. Like, that's a whole joke.
Oh.
I remember.
Does it sound like he killed someone? He killed his wife's lover or something? Or
no, there was
about killing a man. Why is it?
Yeah, he's like, you ever killed a man? Like, he wants to, so he's like, he just wants to get out of this life. He does not want to be here. Like, I just love his whole bit.
I remember.
Is that Married with Children at this point, or is that?
Oh yeah.
He was in the heart of Married with Children.
Yeah, this is the height of it.
Also, took place in Illinois as well, because there's an episode where he did a bunt home run for the Cubs, and it was at like this really rundown Wrigley Field. And like I said, for those who do not know, in case you don't know baseball, a bunt is where instead of swing at the bat, you just kind of like. It's meant to just say you kind of let the bat get hit by the ball, so you can have the runner get to second base, and you're willing to risk getting the out, so the runner can go.
You're not swinging the full way.
Second to third. Yes, you're not swinging the whole way. You're setting up the other guy for success, and you're taking the hit. But it's very unrealistic to hit a bunt home run. You can maybe get like a base hit at best, but you're never gonna get a home run. But for the show, because of the absurdities of Married with Children, They had Al Bundy do a bunt home run. And a confession here on my behalf, I did not know his name was Ed O'Neill until I was 20. To me, he was just always Al Bundy. I was like, hey, Al Bundy's in this movie. No matter what he did. And yes, I had been aware of Modern Family and other things, but to me, he was just always Al Bundy. No matter what he did, all I saw was Al Bundy. That's all. Al Bundy, man.
Al Bundy, yeah. And does anyone catch this? There was the other line I'll date you. Anyone know what? We got to get him to Rampart. I'm sure some people in the chat know what that means, but it's from one of my favorite TV shows. So here we go.
I have definitely done this, Soul Assassin.
Yeah.
Not only have I done this, I've done this with the Shagsworth in person at the Florida house. We all sang Bohemian Rhapsody together.
Yep, that was fun. We weren't live, so that was the only problem.
Okay, so yeah, here's the deal. Like I was trying to tell you guys, so like, because you have that scene where the one guy's like, I haven't slept in years or whatever, and he's like, are you serious or whatever? Like, yeah, because the store's been open. That's why he's going crazy. So he's like going insane. So like Ed O'Neill actually never broke character while he was filming. So he would like ramble incessantly in between scenes and shit, I guess, to stay in that state of mind of where he's just slowly going insane from working 24 hours a day. And I can't remember there's something they say in the movie of why the store's open that long. I can't remember if it had something to do with Wayne and Garth or something to do with the same what's his face's character? I can't remember now, but like, or the cop or whatever, something to do with that. But like, anyway, there's something to do with it. But he's open 24 hours a day and he's going slowly insane because of it. I can't remember now. It's been like a few weeks since I watched the movie. But
yeah.
It's pretty funny because you wouldn't think of Ed O'Neill as like a method actor, like trying to like keep it all together and like, oh, I'm just gonna live this for the rest of the filming.
Not only that, he's the only other character to talk to the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I love this stuff. This whole bit here is
I like how
brilliant.
they acknowledge that
It's
and
murder.
they take the camera away from it. Like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, we're supposed to talk to the camera.
Right.
Like, they know. Like, hey, no.
Only me and Garth. I think Garth, I don't really have much to say right now. What's that?
Even their friendship dynamic, it's like you always have like the cool guy, and he always has that sort of like squirrely, like
that
like,
looks up
dude
to him
with
and wants to be like him. Yeah,
exactly. Like they just got this movie so right.
And
then there was
Dreamweaver.
Dreamweaver.
Mrs. Dan Aykroyd for many, many years. Yeah,
Yep.
Dreamweaver.
She's a looker.
it's funny because they were together since the early '80s, and they just finally just broke up here like what 2 years ago or a year ago now. Like, yeah, it's really weird. Yeah,
I thought the Foxy Lady scene was better, and that was Wayne's World too. So
No, there's Fox.
And-
There's
no, this is the Foxy Lady.
No,
scene.
it's in this
one.
movie.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
The
That-
second
oh,
one's
okay.
with Kim Basinger.
That's right.
Take
I
me,
am-
Garth.
Bush puts
Where?
out Laura Flynn Boyle, who was smoking.
I'm
hot
low on
sex.
gas and you don't have a jacket.
Let me tell you something about women, Wayne. They want you to come and get them. They love it.
They want you to come get them. They love it.
They love it.
And this is another great.
Oh
character
shit!
here.
Lara Flynn
Oh,
Boyle.
Yeah.
Psycho Hosebeast. This is the first time I've
Stacey.
heard that. Psycho Hosebeast.
With the gun
Didn't she
rack.
date Jack Nicholson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Did-
A
fitting.
gun rack. A gun rack.
Did
I
Mike
I do not
I
own
Myers,
don't
a
have-
gun.
Oh, God.
can you help me out here? But did Mike Myers come up with that Psycho Hosebeast, or was that a common?
Honestly, he may
Balance.
have gotten it from. It sounds like something from Canada.
That sounds Canadian.
I
It
never-
sounds Canadian. Yeah.
I don't think I'd heard anyone say it before this movie. I was still living in the UK. at the
You could be right, but it does sound very Canadian.
time.
That's a
Psycho
separate part. I'm
Hosebeast.
really upset.
I don't even own a gun.
And unfortunately, Jonah Heck says he met Laura a year after this film, but I was looking at some recent pictures of her, and
Oh, she
she
was
kind
a
of went the
hottie,
Madonna.
though.
She kind of went the
Oh,
Madonna
she
route.
did?
Unfortunately, if anyone
Oh.
saw Madonna the other day, it was like, oh,
And
too
she'd
much
melt
Madonna.
if she was out in the
that
sun for too
sucks.
long. Yeah.
She's gorgeous back then.
You don't like it? Fine.
You're gonna lose me.
Lose
I already
me.
lost.
I lost you 2 months ago.
Mental?
Are you mental? We broke up. Get the net.
You see, that's something people in Britain would say a lot. And
I
Mike
can
Myers,
fucking.
Mike Myers
That
had
was,
worked,
Louis, I'm sorry.
had worked in Britain, and saying someone is mental It's something we used to say all the time. Oh, you're mental.
And he brought that into the vernacular, though. That's the other thing that this movie
he heard
did.
it in Britain, though, because he worked in Britain for many years before SNL. So,
I mean, yeah, Bill and Ted predated this a little bit. Most of the shit Bill and Ted were doing was surfer speak already.
yeah,
A lot of what Wayne and
Meatloaf.
Garth,
Meatloaf.
yeah, Meatloaf, yes.
shitty Beatles.
So are they any good?
Very good.
And it's not just a clever name, huh?
Every rock venue needs a sign that's on fire.
Yes. Agreed.
I mean, could you imagine like Reggie's just walk up and the sign's on fire?
Dude, if I went to Reggie's and just saw their sign on fire, like, hey, we light the wings on fire, like I would straight up then I'd eat the wings. I would lose my damn mind if there's a sign at Reggie's out. Dude, and this is a really like, even though this is probably one of the very few scenes where in real life there's a lot more dudes, which is fine because Toxic Tuesday we're all about the dudes. And we got a comics raid coming in. Hi, comics raid.
Hey,
Please
guys.
come. Please come.
But
please.
to finish what I was saying, there's like
Go ahead.
the difference is, like Party On, Excellent. Those were already surfer speak, right?
Mhm.
What Wayne's World brought was like mental, swing, as if not. Those things kind of were as if and not were Valley speak before, but he adopted them into the dude speak vernacular.
Yeah.
Like it really kind of bled itself into the way we talked then. Like there was a lot of the stuff of what they said here that just really Psycho Hose Beast, for instance, was another one that
I'd never heard
we
that
used
before.
beyond, like a lot of the stuff that they came up with, the slang and the other, things they come up with. We really, right. Yeah. There's another, and monkeys might fly out of my butt, you know, all that stuff. We would constantly be saying it constantly.
Dude, yeah, this movie's a trendsetter for those dialogues because I remember like being a kid and thinking, who started the whole knot thing? And then
It was Wayne's World.
It was Wayne's World, man. Oh man, Wayne's World was a trendsetter in more ways than one. With the dialogue, with the ultimate Queen scene, with the Bohemian Rhapsody, with also the legend, just the absolutely legendary cameos. Like, also, I love how this movie like takes different styles of comedy and makes it work as if it was one type of comedy, because you have a little bit of the breaking the fourth wall, you got a little bit of the self-awareness angle as well, and it weaves together beautifully. It really does. What do you want, little dweeb? I love. Oh, this is another thing. The step he gets to get revenge. This setup would never fly at a concert nowadays. He would have gotten kicked. They would have like, hey, where you walked in with that shit? They would have kicked his ass off security and would not let him walk in with
That's
that
my
shit.
cattle prod.
But it's Wayne and Garth.
This scene made me wonder, was there like a discarded subplot? Because like all of a sudden, like there's a couple of scenes where Wayne's like a super computer genius, but like they don't touch on it very much.
Garth.
It's in there. It's in there, but I guess that was part of some. I mean, it may be some stuff I'm sure that was deleted.
Yeah, the stuff
that leads up to a little bit better.
Repositioning the satellite and blah blah blah.
They do tease it throughout the film, and what that is they kind of give Garth, and that's probably what they were giving him something to do. They make him like this little like techie nerd, right? And
just killed the guy.
Dana Carvey actually based this character on his brother.
Yes.
His brother was like autistic, and I think he passed away sadly not too long ago, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But like, yeah, the whole way he spoke, everything about Garth was it's his brother, I guess. So like, yeah, so he's kind of loosely based, and that was another thing that his brother was really into, is like just always messing around with technology. But so Dana took it to that next level, that Garth's always creating weird instruments of death. Is what it is. You have that one there. The so like he does implicate in like, I can't remember what interview it was that Dana Carvey was on where he's talking about this, but like that hand later on, there's a whole bit to that we don't know that's going on there. And that hand is being built to kill him. That's why it's freaking the fuck out while he's there. It's like he takes the hammer to it because he's like, it's not ready yet. It's like
Also, there was a scene that was cut, I guess.
I don't know if it was cut, but it was in an interview with Dana Carvey where he's talking about the whole thing. It may even be on like the commentary or the DVD or what. I don't think there's a commentary, but he's on like the DVD where he's talking about it. But he was like, yeah, that's why that arm is freaking out when Benjamin comes over, because it's a machine he's building to kill Benjamin. I don't know if it was like
explain it. Yeah,
they didn't explain it in the movie, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tia Carrere.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I know this will interest the music geeks here. So originally in the as far as backing band, Nikki Sixx was actually supposed to be involved in this, and so was Shredder's Joe Satriani and Steve Vai were supposed to be involved, but they had flight difficulties that said otherwise. And this movie, and you're thinking, well, why did they just extend the time? Well, guys, this movie was shot over the course of 1 month. So this had a very tight schedule, and they stuck with said schedule. And, well, it makes sense. I mean, that's why they're probably able to crank out a sequel and put out a year later as well.
I think a bigger part of that had to be like, it's like, because a comedy shooting in a month is nothing. It's just that they had a set schedule they couldn't go over because Dana Carvey and Mike Myers had to be in New York by a certain date, I'm sure, because they only get a small window of time off back in the day. Because back in the day, kids, TV people actually used to work like 7-8 months out of the fucking year instead of
you just do 10 episodes of a show.
10
right?
episodes of a show. No, Saturday Night Live was live every week for half of the year, more or less. So
and you
like,
never missed it too. I mean,
and they and Lorne Michaels was very strict on what he would let them do, even though this was produced by him and you know, part of SNL. I'm sure they had big stipulations on, you have this to this date to get this shit done. And if it's not done, it doesn't matter. You're coming back to New York because that takes priority. I'm willing to bet that was the case. I have nothing to base that on, but I'm willing to bet that was why they had such a short schedule and they couldn't move anything around.
Okay, so this is one of my guys here. It says Tia Carrere, one of the few celebrities I've ever met and unashamedly sent for. I believe that. I'm sure you do. When you and I hang out for Striper, we're going to be talking about that.
Well, and just some context for why I say that. Like, famously, when people leave Saturday Night Live, that's why. Because Lorne Michaels will not let you have a movie career while you're on SNL unless he sanctions it. Yep. So that's why all those guys ended up leaving eventually, because they got too big for SNL and they got too many movie offers. And as soon as they could run out their contract, they would let him go do movies. So finally, Lorne got smart, and what he would do is, after Wayne's World and stuff like that, they started producing his own movies and stuff for these guys. But yeah, so I'm sure they had limited schedules just because they can only shoot them in the summertime.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Yeah, you know, once these stars get big, I mean, look how many stars, you know, from SNL. I mean, you know, Bill Murray's, you know, one of the, you know, the biggest stars ever, and
well, Chevy was the first to take off on
Chevy took off, and yeah, you know, John Belushi.
Eddie Murphy was not one of his, but I mean, you know.
Yeah. But you just look at the roster. I mean, and growing up in the 80s into the 90s, like, I mean, everyone hung out to watch Saturday Night Live. You know, I don't think
nobody missed
SNL in like in 8 years, but that was like, you know, 11:30, you know, New York time. SNL was on. And that's what you're doing on Saturday night.
Growing up in the UK, we didn't see SNL. We'd heard of it. We saw the movies that they were in.
Oh, yeah, that they spawned. A Night at the Roxbury, Ladies Man.
Well, before that, even, all the even some of the older stuff. But we didn't see SNL. It was legendary. We'd heard of it. But this was pre-VHS.
I'm surprised that this translated at all, considering A, the Midwest Canadian humor of it all, B, the SNL. Like, if you were not really all that aware of the SNL skits, I'm surprised how big this movie was.
But by this time, of course, this is the early 90s. We'd had everything on VHS for 10 plus years. So that stuff was now known in the UK. It wasn't in the 70s, though. We didn't have SNL in the 70s in its first iteration. We just knew about those people from the movies they made after.
Gotcha.
By this time, though, we were familiar with most of the people, although it wasn't still broadcast in the UK. It was, you'd have to see it on a VHS.
And one of the downsides to all the all the streaming services that have SNL is most of the, I don't think any of them have any of the musical guests.
Yeah,
I got the DVD set they did.
The DVDs do, but
I've got the 4 DVD set of just the music stuff. It's sitting over there.
I'm not sure if
that's why I bought the DVDs like the first 10 years or whatever.
You know, there's kind of a connection between this and Bob and Doug too.
Oh,
For those
yeah.
who are familiar, Bob and Doug of SCTV.
Yeah.
Because Bob and Doug started because during SCTV they needed something to fill the last 2 minutes of the show, and it had to be Canadian related.
Well, that's
so
right,
they came up with Bob and Doug, and it became one of their more famous skits ever, or characters created on the show.
Well, they did.
Wayne's World was similar. They needed a skit to fill the end of the show.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers is like, well, I have this kind of idea for a character about this, you know, heavy headbanger kid that lives in his parents' basement and has a show with his buddy. And it kind of just became this thing. Yeah.
It's ironic.
I found a new opening. I just want to show this. I found a new opening on the internet for Wayne's World. It was just a brand new version.
Really? Nick is almost young enough to be like Wayne Jr. too. And he's like, party on, son. Party on, dad.
It's ironic. It's ironic, like Bob and Doug, that the throwaway skit grudgingly put into full time is the one that becomes the huge.
And it's one of the biggest ones of that era. Exactly my point. Yeah, because Wayne and Garth were arguably the biggest stars of that SNL era. So like, it's just kind of weird.
I'm gonna read these super chats. We got Vor Excellent for $10. Says, I understand that Bohemian Rhapsody and Queen saw extra sales around the season of Wayne's World. Push the album into the zeitgeist, parentheses, again. And more folks know Queen now because of it. Even more folks, because here's the thing. That was a repeated hit on and on and on. I know 70s and Tom, I'm sure the rest of the panel can confirm.
The movie gives this revisionist history that Queen went away. No. And I think Brian will back me up.
Well, certainly not in most of the world. Maybe in America they were a little less.
Even then, they're not even here, man. No. But Queen was always huge, man. I never remembered a moment when Queen wasn't Queen.
But what happened was the EMI didn't expect the success of Bohemian Rhapsody because of this. They were totally caught by surprise. So they had to get up to speed with reissuing the single or the song. So that did catch them by surprise.
And I don't know how the Disney sale complicated things either, because Disney bought the rights to, I think it was either right before he had died. They made a deal.
Yeah.
Because Freddie made sure the guys were going to be taken care of, and they had all this shit ahead of time. And Disney ended up buying the rights, I think more so just because they kept using them in the Mighty Duck movies and shit. So they just ended up buying the rights. And I don't think they own them anymore. But for years there, Disney owned them. And it was right before this movie came out that they ended up buying them. But it's funny enough, that wasn't even the big problem with the movie. You know the song that's the big problem with the movie? Stairway to Heaven, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, because they were notorious for not allowing their stuff to be used in movies.
Finally, for the first time in 30 years since people saw it in theaters, now on the new Blu-ray release. Well, actually, I should say, I think it's only on the 4K release. I'm not sure about the Blu-ray. You finally get to hear the Stairway version.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Because they changed it all those years because they got in trouble for it, because it's just Wayne playing the first few chords of it, or what not even chords, it's just the notes. And so in the video versions and the other DVD and Blu-ray versions before, it was just nonsensical. And it makes no sense why they're doing that. And then you have the no Stairway sign. And it's like, well, he wasn't even fucking playing Stairway. So what the hell's the problem?
It doesn't make any sense then.
Yeah, now it makes sense again because he's actually playing Stairway to Heaven now.
And that's a true thing as well, though. Guitar stores hate it.
For sure.
That was the joke. Smoke on the water.
Smoke on the water, Stairway to Heaven, and Freebird.
Like, you know what? I'd like to see someone do like a YouTube. If you could get Jimmy Page, like get someone to go like play Stairway and like keep getting shut down, and then have Jimmy Page walk in and grab it.
That is like a Letterman skit waiting to happen. If Letterman was still around,
Page with the sign in the background and there's no Stairway.
Oh man, everybody plays that crap. But I'm Jimmy Page. Who?
Well, my brother-in-law's a sound engineer, and he was on a line talking to a guy, and backstage, and we're waiting to get because it was a festival, so he had to wait to like get beer, and his friend comes up, one of his buddies that works with him. He's like, You were just talking to for like 10, 15 minutes? He's like, no, John Paul Jones. It's like, that was John Paul Jones? I didn't recognize him. Yeah. But yeah, just a normal guy. I'm like, you realize he could have bought the whole place probably, but he was a really down to earth guy. But yeah, it's that's true though. No Zeppelin, no Stairway to Guitar Story.
Denied.
There's a YouTube video on it. Someone did, trying to play it, and then watch the guitar guy. The manager comes over and they shut him down all the time.
All right, so hold on. Let me read these off, and then Dustin, you can go first. Pirate Tomsky for £5 says, "I love this movie. So nerdy and cool at the same time. Thank you, Pirate." And Pirate Tomsky again for another £5 says, "70s rock fan. Yeah, we loved it in the UK. There were some things that didn't transfer, like gun rack. I don't even own a gun. LOL."
Yeah, and I wouldn't make too much of the cultural divide. I think pretty much North America and Britain are there's 90% overlap because of media over the years of terms of things like music and language and whatever. It's just more local references in North America would probably not go over as well, but just you could watch this. I watched this at the cinema and absolutely loved it, and I didn't come out scratching my head. The experiences are the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this bit though when the language thing, because this was always he says one little thing and it's all this. You got to take the Toxic Man Flu thing off. We wouldn't have seen the subtitles that go on and on and on.
Toxic Man Flu for $20 says, "Comics Division made me sit through Biden's State of the Union tonight. Please make that memory go away, Nick. Please."
Well, we're
I'm
doing our
begging
best.
you. We're trying, Tox. Thank you for the 20, my friend. And then one last one here from
Stairway
again. Nonsense notes. Geez, you guys are coming in hot with these. And then Dash Attack for $10. Hi, Nick and everyone. Movie is definitely on my to-see list. Holy shit, dude. Go watch it like right now. My Hogwarts Legacy stream got derailed by crashes. Didn't even get sorted. Modern games are taxing on PC. Need a PS5 anyways. Hail to all, and hail to you, sir, and thank you for $10.
That sucks.
Dustin, go ahead. I left out for Dustin. Go ahead and
I was gonna say they weren't able to use the Stairway thing in this, right? I mean, but then again, then they came in with they came back and the same thing happened with Immigrant Song in Ragnarok.
Well, this was actually they used it, they had it, but something had happened that they didn't have the rights for video, so they couldn't put it on video. It was in the theaters. Yeah, but it's kind of similar to if you've ever seen National Lampoon's Vacation. Whenever you see Christy Brinkley, it's not supposed to be playing that song that's in all the videos. It's supposed to be playing "I'm So Excited" by the Pointer Sisters, but they didn't pay for it. So yeah, it's the stupid thing that happens from time to time.
Well, School of Rock wasn't School of Rock the first movie or one of
the first ones? And that was because Jack Black actually
get Zeppelin to agree.
Got a hold of Jimmy Page personally. And this is kind of the same thing with the Godzilla thing when they had him and Godzilla soundtrack. It was like Puff Daddy worked his magic and got a hold of Jimmy Page personally. And that's the thing, is you had to start getting a hold of them personally to get permission. That was
I have a little bit of sympathy for their position though, because overexposure just waters everything down to nothing. And they've always kept a tight lid on Led Zeppelin's material and exposure because they wanted people to buy the records and they go to the concerts, and they didn't want, or Peter Grant and the band didn't want too much overexposure.
Well, they're among that pantheon of those 5 or 6 guys that are just impossible to get the rights to, right? Like the Beatles, shit like
what
that.
happened with the Beach Boys with freaking Sunkissed, with I'm a good vibration that ruined that Beach Boys song,
and it becomes ubiquitous and becomes like wallpaper. Then
there is that though too. Like it is, you get over.
There's certain songs are in millions of movies, and they just it's like wallpaper. Then doesn't have the same impact.
Well, funnily enough, like Queen, they're not a tough band to get the rights to. That was the funny thing. It was just, I'm sure they had to jump through a few hoops with Disney, but because Queen was actually very movie friendly. Of course they did the soundtrack for both Highlander and they did songs on, in Flash. And then they also did a song for Iron Eagle as well. So it's not like they were unfamiliar with doing music for movies, and We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions is in how many fucking movies?
Oh, so many.
Every single one.
No, but no, Tom.
Heath
the thing
Ledger
is,
one.
you're right about the Queen was flexible. The thing is, because they actually wanted to have their music to actually bring people together. They actually did believe in their music so people can enjoy it.
The commercial
to be
band, they
together.
want to be heard.
They wanted to not only be heard, but they literally has specifically said, and if you guys want to watch it and you don't believe me, they didn't see their music being used as a message of political divisiveness. They just wanted people brought together with the music. And if you want proof on that, watch the Metal Mythos on that from Razor Fist for reference, because he got the clip right then and there of that. So
I love the chroma key bit here.
Hmm.
Mukalaka Hiki, come on, you want to lay me? Pass the point, Mahoy.
I've got a gun. Let's go to a rotation.
I'm in Delaware.
Delaware.
Delaware. Isn't that
I
what Joe
like how
Biden's
all the
from, Delaware?
states they all got something to say, but Delaware, the first say, and it's just like Delaware.
Delaware's Joe Biden, right?
Some Broncos.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Like a credit card company's there.
Delaware.
I got $5,000. We jumped over that part too.
We did. Oh man,
We've really.
Is that the
that's the problem
underwear?
with this
Is that
movie.
the underwear reference?
Well,
New underwear.
there's lines
It's like
of
a new pair of
second.
underwear. At first, they're
It's kind of
restricted.
stupid, but then it becomes a
After
part
while,
of
it became a part
you.
of you.
You're right.
True, I have to say. That is very true, though. That's a good.
I love this bit because he's like totally uninterested in anything he has to say.
He can't relate. This is obviously a guy who obviously he has his whole thing with the arcade business, but then Wayne's just this guy who's just like, I just want to party. He doesn't care about contract. That's why they just glossed over that contract from Rob Lowe's character. They just assumed, okay, it's fine, it'll be fine, whatever. They don't think about those things. They're not wired like that. They ain't built like that. Him and Garth. They just want to hang out and do shit.
And the message
is
is
awesome.
the very thing that made
Sphincter
it
says what?
Sphincter says what?
That's another one that came from this too.
That's
yeah.
brand new. That was I'd never heard that before. That insult, but they take the thing that makes it successful and they take it out of that, and it doesn't work. Then it was successful or good because it was in the limited setting of the basement.
Okay, Judas
we're
Priest
gonna pause here.
painkiller
We're gonna pause
poster.
here.
You
Yeah.
pause
Yeah.
that shit
Sweet
right now.
poster.
I see
Sweet,
Judas Priest painkiller, and that is. Well, I'm gonna make a very bold claim and
But
say
what we're missing
the
here,
best Priest album.
the best
Oh,
thing is
Lizzy, Chinatown.
everybody's so distracted by the posters of the artists. Look at the 3 or 4 poses of Garth down there right by the bed.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
Your Popeye in the toilet on the
And
lower
he got
left.
Popeye in the toilet. But look at Garth
Well,
doing
that's
his like.
sprockets. It's like sprockets.
I think I was wondering that when I saw that. I'm like, did he
He's doing
sneak that
sprockets.
in there and make
Yeah.
fun of sprockets?
Would you
Yeah,
like
that
to
is
bid my
making
monkey?
fun of sprockets. Yeah.
What's
Like,
the
did-
movie in the
Did
back?
Dana
He's-
sneak that in there?
Maybe.
Another Alice Cooper poster too.
Alice Cooper, Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
What's the Beast in the Night? Is it or Beast?
Thin Lizzy,
Beast
Chinatown.
It's Thin Lizzy, Chinatown. Yeah, but the movie one with the
Yeah.
red background.
Double the
a
terror,
double
double
feature.
the shock.
It's a double feature.
Beast yellow. I don't know if I can zoom in.
If
on
you-
that.
Well,
Yeah,
and what's
there you
even
go.
funnier
Beast
is if you
Yellow
look
Knight.
at that last one, he's got like a huge bulge at his crotch. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wonder if Dana got that in there under Mike's nose.
You probably did.
the Thin Lizzy
That Led
poster is
Zeppelin
awesome.
poster is a classic.
Or they might have
too,
been
yeah.
in on it, like if we went out.
I had that Led Zeppelin poster.
Oh,
when I
same
was a
dude. My
teenager.
uncle had that.
I had that one. Yeah, that was a popular.
For
one.
those who don't know, that's obviously a crack at Mike Myers' other more famous character.
Yeah.
So Sherry here made this party on Nick, party on Shags right here.
Why do I look like David
I could see
Harbour?
this. I could see this working. This is the movie. This is movie 3 that Tom's going to write. This is it right here.
Party on Shags.
Every time they use that weird like filter, like I look like David Harbour. Like I'm
Oh yeah. Yeah.
it's so strange.
Thank you, Sherry. That was absolutely glorious.
What is it, girl?
Yeah, I misunderstood.
Wayne fell down a well?
That's right.
Oh, I misunderstood. Wayne's outside.
And there's the street
Why does the
hockey,
dog
yeah.
have Tina Turner hair?
Because it was the
It
90s.
was the 90s.
We don't need another.
Because it's simply the best.
I think it was more to make him make the dog look like he has the same. She has the same hair as Garth, actually.
Street hockey.
And I love this too. I used to play street hockey all the time. We'd yell, "Car, car,
Game
car,
on!
Game on!
Oh yeah, like you don't see kids play outside anymore, so it's kind of interesting. Like you're like, what? People used to play outside, like they didn't just go online.
That to the Bee
the Bee
Gees.
Gees.
I
I'd forgotten that line. That's a good one.
Frampton Comes Alive. Are you serious? They used to give this away with
Yeah,
samples of Tide in the mail.
That's right.
Oh, so okay, between this scene here, so this scene almost did make it into the movie. This scene, because Myers was worried that this scene would not resonate with the audience. I don't know what possessed him to think that people wouldn't find that funny, but he truly thought that would not translate. And obviously it did, because it's fucking funny when you see the crazy ex-girlfriend nail into a car.
She's got a
And
hell
she
of a
just gets
camel
up
toe.
like everything
Yeah.
is.
Here's the Benjamin Death Machine right here.
Ah.
He'd fear change.
And we totally went over that Peter DeLuise is one of their entourage too in this film. He's not in the second one, sadly, but for those who don't know, Peter DeLuise is Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise.
Oh, right. Okay.
Stargate, right? Stargate. Fan
Yeah, he was
later?
also in 21 Jump Street and stuff like that with his brother. And
Okay, so we got Mr. Pirate Tomsky again for another 10 English pounds. Says, so there's me and Keith Moon and David Crosby breaking this little sweet shop, right? Well, instead of a guard dog, they got this bloody great big Bengal tiger. Thank you, Pirate.
An Oliver Reed reference. I can't remember what that was.
he is the best part of the second movie. The roadie guy. I can't remember his name, but yeah. We used to go on the road everywhere, me and my old lady. Oh my God, that's you with Led Zeppelin and Alice Cooper. Oh wow, and who's the old lady? That's my old lady.
I remember when I first saw this movie, I was super stoked. Like I was like, man,
Was it
that's an
Michael?
awesome guitar. And then like now I'm like, I wouldn't pay that much for that guitar.
I have to apologize. It's Michael DeLuise, not Peter. There's three of them anyway.
Michael. I think,
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Peter was Peter the one from
Peter's the one that was always on 21 Jump Street.
I'm never going to forgive you for getting that wrong, Tom. Never.
I will always get it wrong. They all look alike almost. That's the
They all
problem.
look alike.
Hey, just remember, no Stairway.
Denied.
Yeah.
And of course,
And
this is
also-
actually Dana Carvey here playing drums,
Yep.
by the way.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is actually him, and I've had many friends of mine who are like drummers, and anytime and there's another drummer around, the drummers always has to come up and see the other drummer play, get close to the other drummer, be like, "That's amazing, man." I'm like, "Man, I've seen that shit happen in real life. This movie has a real life relatability."
People are like, the scene's coming up already. Yeah, this is a tight film. It's only 90 minutes long or whatever it is. 95
Perfect.
minutes, I think, top. And yeah, at
Yeah.
that point, they wouldn't let comedies go over long. Yeah.
It's perfect. I feel like I feel like everything pretty much works in this movie. There's not like a thing where like, oh man, this drags on too long. Like it makes its point with each scene. Doesn't
You're
overstate any of it. and then moves
Amazing,
on.
dude.
I've
like to
seen
play.
that happen at Guitar Worlds. No bullshit. I like I said, I've had many friends who drummers, and anytime there's two drummers on, the other drummer's always watching what the other drummer's playing, and that's pretty much what he's doing. I'm straight up.
Wait, is that
facts of
Fabio?
life.
The
Could
guy.
be Fabio.
Kind of looks like him.
It looked like Fabio.
Yeah, it
I'll-
does.
Did too.
It's
Go
so weird to
back, yeah.
see those
No.
Chicago trains look all clean, because you go on a train now in Chirac in downtown, and they don't look that nice at all now.
Yeah,
They
Chicago
really-
used to be kind of nice looking. Now it looks like, yeah.
there's
That's
parts
totally
of it that
Fabio.
still look good,
Yeah.
but the trains are definitely not one of them. It's definitely not coming from the trains. They got dudes who smell
We
all
got
day
5,000
there,
dollars.
and yeah, see, look how clean and mint they all look.
Shit, I remember being up there at one time, and like when the iPod first came out,
Mm-hmm.
and like every single train, every single window had an Apple logo on it. So all you're seeing is just Apple logos drive by all day. It was so weird.
This whole thing. There's two Darren Stevens, right? Dick Sargent, Sergeant York. Dick York, Dick Sargent, Sergeant York.
It may have been Kitty Bear, but regardless, that's a good representation of what they look like. That is a good representation of what they did look like. Because here's the thing.
It's just probably stock footage.
And it could be, but it did look like between because I remember being on public transportation in the 90s, whether it was buses, like the Paces or even the taxis, you could actually, once again, kids went around these areas and it was no big deal. Nowadays, you look like you're like breathing in a STD infection when you're on a bus now. And I love this shameless self-awareness of product placement galore.
And that's the beauty of this scene is 90% of these products are still active, and their designs haven't changed all that much. So the joke still lands. Like I said, Newprin's the only one that's probably got some people going, huh? It's like, you had to got that one, back then. But
in some ways too, this movie kind of like it reminds me of Tropic Thunder, not in like the crude way, but just how like Hollywood's making fun of itself,
right?
And how it goes about like things and how it just totally ruins.
It's like people only do things because they get paid.
Yeah.
I just think that's really sad.
Like YouTubers who don't do it.
All that Reebok gear. Oh, is this where you drink? Oh, the Pepsi. I was just like, wow. So it wasn't just
take two of these.
Oh yeah, and they showed black and white too for a second. Like, oh.
Well, that's the thing is you have to remember the ads. That was the whole. These were basically the ads right here.
Yeah.
Like new print,
especially that
little,
Pizza Hut one.
Yellow. Different.
That's the ad. That's the ad. Yeah. And I
That's it right there.
Until I watched
weird, like how most of us still remember it to this day.
Well, at the time, ads, commercials, they were a lot more memorable. A lot of them, either had a really good, memorable.
Yes, it's a choice of a new generation.
A lot of them had a good jingle or something catchy. Like, remember when Gillette? He was like, Gillette, the best a man can get. They used to have a memorable song.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
It does take a bit of skill.
Pizza Hut.
It takes a bit of skill to do that kind of product placement, like they've just done, but make it funny. That takes a lot of skill.
I got one of these
to mock it and do it at the same time.
Nowadays, commercials are just a public service announcement about how bad things are. Back in the day, commercials, even though waiting for commercial breaks could suck, at least they had something that could make them laugh or something catchy to remember.
It's you know what I'd like to do? You like to rip a man who's responsible his heart out of his bare chest to show it to him before he dies. No, I was thinking about just filing agreements with the union.
Fucking Al Bundy. Fucking Al Bundy.
He's awesome.
But you know what? That's not so far off because I'm sure a lot of guys are thinking that. When they're doing these boring jobs. You're 12 hours a shift in a place like that managing, you'd be thinking, what if I just leapt over this counter?
No, he works 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's the joke. He has not stopped working.
He's probably
that's why he's going insane.
He's probably got Cossack ancestors or just
talk about Groundhog Day.
Blows chunks.
Oh yeah, blows chunks. What was it? No, it's blow goats when they get to that.
Blow goats,
yeah.
And I have proof.
Yeah.
Oh man, that scene in the theater. Good God! I'd have to say, of all the scenes in the whole movie that got the biggest laugh of all, it has to be the blowing goat scene. And I know that sounds bad the way I just said it, but the scene with Noah and the cards brought the fucking house down. Because I've seen the movie 6 times, and every screening, that was the one joke where you literally had people throwing shit, laughing their asses off, falling out of their seats. And they were laughing through the whole thing and getting into it through the whole thing. But that was the one every single time that brought the house down. That was one, that was the one that killed everybody.
There you go. The legendary, the Hendrix anthem. The placement of music in each scene that they did was absolutely perfect. Just like you feel like these songs are just so synonymous with these movies. Even though these songs obviously came out way before this movie, but they just became so like essential to these
getting
scenes.
at. Yeah, they didn't just have it in the background. Certain scenes depended on the music and vice versa. It was very well done.
Well, the soundtrack to this is amazing as hell. Like, I mean, it's one of those rarities for not having a brand new original song on it at that time. Like, that's what you were talking about, 70s. The fact that it's made up of a couple classic songs, some remakes from Tia for her band, and some new songs. Like, the only new song that technically charted off that album would be Feed My Frankenstein. And that was really more of a hard rock hit than anything.
As far as charting, but there was another new song in here. It didn't chart, but it was Black Sabbath's Time Machine, which is from the Dehumanizer album, which obviously of the 3 albums at the time with Ronnie Dio on the front, that was the least popular of the 3. But that song was a damn banger song. Too. Yeah, I love that song.
I love this bit too.
Actually, the only other new one then would be the theme, the Wayne's World theme itself.
Obviously,
how come you didn't put Mad Mardigan's face on this?
But what I meant for that was like they didn't have like this major single, like, you know, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me, like, you know, Batman Forever did, for instance, or Eye of the Tiger, like Rocky 3 had, or what have you.
By the way, the Wayne's World theme is co-written by G.E. Smith. Look him up; he's
of the Saturday Night Live band.
Yeah, great.
Carrying on the tradition of the Blues Brothers, actually. But
also Hall & Oates' lead guitarist for many years.
Also on Cassandra's wall, there was that Pet Sematary poster. To the right of it was the Megadeth logo.
Just saying. The name was Cassandra.
Oh yeah, that thing he does with the stomach. The only scene in the movie where he has his hat off. She's probably
laughing there for real. Yeah.
It is one of the only scenes where he has his hat off. Yeah.
Man,
they got this mullet.
You can totally tell it's a wig in this scene. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, this is such a Mad Mardigan moment where Mad should have been faced.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. So this is how much this movie has ingrained. Like when people do Marilyn Monroe, Mr. President, now they're not doing Marilyn Monroe. They're doing Wayne doing Marilyn Monroe now.
Yes. Yes.
That's the thing. Like most people do that now instead of the actual bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Nah, man. Preach that. It's like, once again, it's just one of those things where Wayne's World just took anything and made it its thing with Wayne's World. It's just like you think of Wayne's World when you think of any of these things, whether it's the Not Quote or that, or obviously any of the songs we mentioned. Wayne's World just kind of just took everything and said, hey, we own this now. And it worked.
Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 1, camera 2.
Yeah.
Camera 1.
Gratuitous sex scene.
Excellent. This movie has so much fun, and to remind us that you can never that nothing is as funny as text jokes or subtitle jokes, right? They always work every time, never get old.
So we got Mr. Pirate Tomsky with another $2 English pound says yes, and it's a taste of a new generation. I see what you did there between Mike Myers and Mike Muir, 2 Mikes of suicidal tendencies with his institutional lies. Those were the biggest promotions of Pepsi at the time. And then Pirate again with the English £5. Thank you, sir. You notice how Wayne and Cassandra never actually kiss? Damn, dude, you're right. I didn't piece that together.
Yeah, I think you're right. Sure.
So we don't see Wayne's parents, and we didn't see him mac it, though we got a gratuitous sex scene.
Yeah, they're goofing around, but I don't think they ever actually kissed, do they?
No.
I don't think so.
Shake your head.
That wasn't in her contract.
That or was Mike Myers like married to a militant woman at that time or something?
Yeah, that could have been. Yeah,
you get that some cases.
Yeah. No, that does happen every now.
They did have a gratuitous sex scene though,
because I'm pretty sure she makes out with Rob Lowe in that fantasy scene, don't she?
No, they don't. I thought they were.
They're just all hugged up and shit, though.
Yeah, they hug up. Yeah. Is that funny how that happens?
In many ways, it's superior, but will never be as recognized as the original.
I disagree with that, but
And we did go past the
It's a great
famous.
line, great
Speaking
line,
of Star
yeah.
Trek, we went past the plane scene too, didn't we? Or is that coming up yet?
Oh, I don't think we've gotten
That's
that.
coming
Oh
up.
no,
It's
you just had
coming
that thing coming up. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, it's coming up.
We'll get there. I love this.
Oh.
How to pick up women
Yeah. How to
and
Hey.
exploit it. I feel
Exploit it.
sorry for whoever that is.
Dana
That-
Carvey's got the best expressions when he looks at the camera. If you really pay
Who
attention
still
to the
doesn't
movie,
do this one?
yeah, and the way he looks at everything.
Oh.
Ew.
Hold on. What's that food he says he makes up at the Chinese food?
Cream of some young guy. Everybody still does that.
Cream,
one.
Yeah.
cream of some
No, that one's that's in the culture now. Everyone says that. Yeah.
cream of some young guy.
And then the joke is everyone can speak another language. Like Rob Lowe speaks perfect
Yeah.
Cantonese when he calls up the restaurant, and
Wayne,
Wayne like learns
Pepsi Cola, Mountain Dew.
yeah, here we go. Oop, there we go.
I'll have the cream of some young guy. The only other joke that probably doesn't still land in this movie because people don't get it is the Grey Poupon joke. That just reminded me. Yeah.
Oh, I
Who
love
doesn't get
great
that
fun
joke?
pick.
That you might still, but like I can see like
That
younger
commercial's gonna go
kids
on a
not
long
getting
time.
it. Yeah.
I could maybe
What?
see like a 16-year-old who probably just has basic French's mustard get it. Oh, not get it. That's about it.
Well, I had a good. Yeah, it's too old. But I had in college one of my friends. She was dating a stand-up comic at the time, and his nickname for me was Grey Poupon because my town, I won't say my hometown, but it has a reputation for being, kind of on the snooty and wealthy side. So he's like, Grey Poupon, it's Grey Poupon there. So this guy was fucking hysterical comedian. He was awesome. He's still working as a comedian. And he became a DJ too. And he had he'd get me tickets to concerts, which is awesome too. So he hooked me up with concerts sometimes. But yeah, it was Earl Reed. Earl Reed was a comedian, but he would call me Grey Poupon. It was just so fun. It's an inside joke, but it was and he'd do the accent or whatever. It was just fucking hysterical. But so I always laugh when I see Grey Poupon. But yeah, you're right. No one would get that. No one would get that joke today, I guess. Or most people wouldn't.
Okay,
So yeah, the commercials, you roll up in a Rolls Royce, and the guy, the two guys in the Rolls are asking for part of
The kissing thing, I wonder if it's Tia Carrere instead, to be honest with you, because Mike Myers never had a problem kissing any of his co-stars in any of the Austin Powers films.
You're right. That's true. So okay, I just remembered as something I didn't know about until in more recent times. Tia Carrere was almost not in this movie, and the reason why because he originally booked to be on Baywatch, so it was either Baywatch or this, and obviously you're thinking which one's going to succeed, which one won't, and she obviously went with Wayne's World, and obviously the rest was history. Obviously, the movie became absolutely iconic in 100 more ways than one, and she became one of the essential characters of the movie. So yeah, it worked out clearly for her career. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jonah Hex, because I wanted to add to that. So thank you.
And of course, NBC executives thought the same thing. I mean, they canceled Baywatch or Babewatch, as we called it in college, after one season, and then it got picked up, and it became one of the most popular TV shows in history. I remember watching an Entertainment Tonight, and they were showing people on a tropical island with no electricity, and they were starting their generator to watch Baywatch so they could watch Pamela Anderson and the gang. It was like why would you cancel a show?
I love how
women?
understated that whole licorice scene is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the licorice on the roof. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's totally like
What was that?
who refills it?
I don't know.
Is that keto friendly? Probably, right?
It's not.
No, it's not. No.
That's true. Dustin will absolutely know. But this is another iconic moment, and this is for me. This is my gateway into the legendary rocker named Alice Cooper. And dude, hearing this blew my mind because I was just like, holy crap. This guy's old as shit.
We're
but
getting
he
ahead
rocks
though.
so
We got
hard.
the Laverne and Shirley scene. Don't overlook the Laverne and
I'm
Shirley
sorry.
scene.
It just I know. It's just for me.
We're gonna do it.
Cindy Williams just passed away too.
Yeah, they're no longer with us. Yeah.
I love Milwaukee.
I do too. I really like, especially dude, when we saw Ghosts at Turner Hall. That was a nice, really nice area in Milwaukee.
It was
been
nice.
in
Yeah, it was a
Milwaukee
nice,
in
cool
forever.
place. Yeah.
Because I know Clutch plays there sometimes too. If they're not doing the Eagles Ballroom, they play the Turner Hall.
I've been to Eagles Ballroom twice, been to Turner Hall.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
I wonder if people still remember how many people's like. I wonder if my kids even know this opening. Like, have they ever seen Laverne and Shirley?
Yeah, this might be one of
the.
the only other things in the movie that kind of dates it a little bit. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, enough people. I mean, they're still popular enough, I guess, but not. Yeah, young kids might not get it.
Mm-hmm.
But
This whole scene is I mean, it's the opening of the show. Exactly. Yeah.
what are we doing? We got tickets, backstage passes for Alice Cooper.
Oh, Bungalow Logic. Yeah, we did mention Donna Dixon was and married to Dan
Mrs.
Aykroyd. I think
Aykroyd,
they got
yeah.
Tom. You said they got divorced, right?
Yep, just
or-
recently. Yeah,
It's so crazy.
I did Bungalow.
Yeah, it's been, you know what? I love that one.
Yeah, we should be drinking some Pepsi and milk right now. The taste of a new generation.
Oh,
Hmm.
dude. I'm such like I'm
so gross. I tried it once. Yeah, it's gross. Yeah.
I remember in the late 90s they were trying to push Pepsi One, and I'm like, this shit is gross. But once again, I'm blown away because he was like, holy shit, this old dude kicks ass. And now he's a lot more older and he's still kicking ass. And I've only seen him once. I saw him in 2012 Summerfest in Milwaukee opening for Iron Maiden. And I have a bunch of friends of mine, and I mentioned this before the show, sorry, in the backstage room. Cooper was the opening act, quotation mark, opening act for Motley Crue on their Not Farewell tour, opening for Big Max 103. And everyone who I know went said that Cooper absolutely upstaged Crue, even though they're all like 10 to 20 years younger than
I'm
Cooper.
not surprised.
Yeah.
So I've seen him about 4 times. I've seen him 4 times, I think, and it's all since this era. Like it's post. But he's
nice.
every time I've seen him, he's been magnificent.
I say this was Alice on another upswing because he had his big moment in the 70s, and then he kind of went on a downturn, and then in the late 80s he had another big upswing.
Yeah.
And he had a peak again with Poison. Which was on Trash, I think was the album.
That's right.
And then this was on the album Hey Stupid, which was another decent one for him in that era. But yeah,
Yeah, he's
Constrictor was the
he's
one.
always
had-
magnificent live.
He's got a lot of bangers, dude.
Oh,
There was
yeah,
a
he
Constrictor that had Poison on it.
Yes.
Because like I was telling Nick before we started the stream, like I have a really close personal friend. Like her biggest thing is Alice Cooper. She's met him. She knows his daughter. She knows like the band members and stuff. And she's seen him. I don't know the exact number.
Chris
I know it's
Farley.
either at 90 or coming up on 90 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I know she's just posted on Facebook the other day. She's got like 3 more sets of tickets in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
She just
Crazy.
loves to go see.
Wow.
Or
He's
anyone who
got
hasn't seen
the
him,
tour
go see
coming
him.
up. Yeah, he's at that tour coming up with Rob Zombie. If the data is right, I'll go. Like, even though I don't
It
listen
was
to
on
like
Trash, by the way.
I don't listen to like current Zombie albums, but I do like Zombie live, and I absolutely love Cooper. So I'd go to that tour if the timing and price is right. I'd go to that.
And then we got Chris Farley
I
here,
doubt it
who's
will be.
in the sequel, but he plays a different character in the sequel.
It was a different character. I forgot.
Chris
that,
Farley.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. He does. I forgot that. And this is
He's going to come back through Chicago on his way to Detroit. Oh,
Mhm.
that was a
setup-
lot of exposition.
set up and payoff, but you don't even know that it was a setup, only to pay off later. I
And
wonder
what
how
Farley's
That
in
makes
for-
you wonder if it'll come in handy later.
Yeah, and Farley's only in for what, like 15 seconds, but like
This is the only scene he's in this one. But the
He's
second one, he's
genius the way he
amazing
moves.
in. I love the second one. When he's the roadie, trying to be a
Oh,
roadie. He's
yeah.
like, "Why are you here? You stink. You'll never make it. I've got no place else to go." He does- officer in a gentleman's suit.
He really was.
Yeah.
No, he really was a maniac. He really was. And before we
He
go,
was
Oh,
awesome.
it's like-
Farley, fuck yes. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
we've got stories. I'm
Of
sure you've
course.
heard enough, Nick, considering like we're in a stomping ground, right?
oh, Tommy, the good old Tommy
Um,
Callahan, dude. Yeah.
He used to show up at random fucking parties.
Oh,
okay.
I heard.
Like if like somebody at the UW was throwing a party or something, he would be there. And he would show up and he would have like if somebody was drinking a glass of of Jack Daniels, he'd have a bottle. If somebody was doing a line of Coke, he'd have 5. Like that, or he'd do the rest of the bag. Like that was Chris Farley. He was a force of fucking nature. Like he would come into the room and it was just like roar! And it was like boom, he was there. And it just like everybody would he was beloved in this area. Like he would just pop up randomly here and there. Like his brothers are sort of well known in the area too at the time, and it was just he was beloved. When we lost him, it was a huge deal. Like you can't really get close to his. He's got like a what do you call it? Like a not a mausoleum thing, but whatever you call it there. In I think it's on the other side of Madison.
Tombstone.
Yeah, it's like a thing, but you can't really get to it. But it's like.
Okay.
Yeah, but it sucks because like he was losing him when we did, that was bad. That was like ugh.
And all the warning signs were there, unfortunately, too. But
To a point, yeah, not as bad as Belushi, but it was still like it really took. I would say it was a lot more shocking than Belushi because he didn't let it be seen or known as well as Belushi. Because here's the thing, Belushi was fucked up all the time. Like there's tons of stories of when Belushi would wander off the set and they'd have to go find him and
woke up at someone's house,
woke up in somebody's house or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Chris, when he was working, Chris was sober as can be. And this is what people think might have killed him. When Chris would work, he'd be sober as can be. And then as soon as the work was done, that's when he would overindulge. Right. And he would, like the same thing with food. Like it was the same thing with food and drugs were the same thing with him. If somebody was having a steak, he'd have 5. Like that was just the way he was. It was just he lived every moment to the nth degree. But the thing with him was he was just always so worried about what people thought about him all the damn time.
Well, I heard something interesting. They said that actually the skit with Patrick Swayze, where he's playing the Chippendale, and Phil Hartley is talking about. He said that kind of. He almost didn't want to do that skit because it's making fun of his weight or how fat he was.
Phil Hartman.
I always thought that skit. Yeah, Phil Hartman. Yeah, thought that skit was hysterical. But he was on an interview with Stern, and like it was a replay, and they're talking about how that skit actually bothered him in a lot of ways, and it was he didn't want to be made fun of for what he looked like. But I thought that skit was. I'm not exactly small myself.
Oh, and he would just abuse himself too. Like you would see him do his scenes where he would throw himself into a table and shit. Those were generally not like fake breakaway tables or anything. Like he would do that shit and he would go home with tons of bruises and shit like that. Like they were surprised when he wouldn't break a rib or something like that because he was doing stupid, crazy shit. And he would come into rooms like that sometimes. Yeah. Like he would just fall into the fucking room and knock a bunch of shit over on purpose and get back up and go, hey guys, I meant to do that. He would do that shit all the time. Like, and it's like, do you realize what you're doing to yourself, man? It's like, but I guess from what people said is the real Chris is the Chris you see in the Chris Farley and things like with the Paul McCartney where he's interviewing Paul McCartney. He's like, remember when you were in the band? It was the Beatles. That was really cool. Like that's Chris Farley. Like that's him.
Awesome. Yeah. And then didn't he do the Patrick Swayze, the dancing,
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, the skit with Patrick Swayze, the Chippendales one. Yeah. Were you expecting Swayze to be kind of mocking him, but he isn't. He's like, go for it. He takes his top off and go, do it. You can do it. He blows goats.
I have proof. Oh,
this is the one. Yes, this was the moment the theater just lost it. Like you couldn't hear shit for the next minute and a half. Like it was so loud.
I mean, no one saw these no card things coming. No one saw this coming. I thought it was gonna be like some arrow thing or something. Maybe just like something like almost like a rabbit ears equivalent. No, it's just
no kind of like Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah,
this
true.
man has no dick. It's true.
He has no dick.
Yeah.
No.
Colleen Camp before she looks like the lady who ate Colleen Camp.
It was the perfect backfire, and since they totally corporatized their Wayne's World setup with the where they redid the intro, because it took away the personal feel of them playing singing the song, doing the guitars, doing the rocking out, and having everything done for it, because it took the personal touch away from the show. This was a great way to even the score, even though Rob Lowe's like, "I but the show." There we go. We got comment. Yeah. Says there you go. I was talking about with Alice Cooper. Meatloaf was roadie from 1980. All right. There you go. And then we got another one. Man, Pirate Tomsky, you are a generous son of a bitch. English 2 out English pounds. To your career was waiting for cream of some young guy.
I hope the delivery wasn't too late. I hope
she got that delivery. I think yes.
And I hope it wasn't delivered too early either.
Too early or too late. Yes.
I don't think it was too late. She's still up, so I don't think the
that part with Garth was hilarious. Where he's like, "I'm having a good time, not." The ultimate awkward, like, I don't know what to do. I'm feeling uncomfortable.
where he's on screen by himself after Wayne has stormed off.
Right?
Yeah. Oh man, I remember whoa, this is so funny.
I mean, I handled it pretty well, but this is all. I love this bit here. But we did pass over the other one. That was the one I wanted to talk about. Yeah, the first time. The first time when they're on the car. I can't believe nobody brought it up. Of course, we have so many things going on cross-reference. I didn't catch it at the time. I was going to bring it up. When Dana Carvey says, "Do you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he would dress up like a girl bunny?"
That's funny though. Yeah.
That is completely fucking ad-libbed.
Oh, total headline.
Mike Myers had no idea he was going to ask that. So his laugh in that scene is 100% genuine. Like, that is Mike Myers pretty much breaking character because he had no idea that Dana Carvey was going to fucking say that.
That's awesome.
It's a funny line.
That's why he's like, "No." And he's like, then he just fucking loses it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
me
line must have
neither.
went over pretty good in the theater. Yeah, because it's the two guys, like, getting a little bit awkward there. It's like,
Yeah,
that's yes.
Kill the rabbit.
And it was at it too, Pirate. Yeah, that might have been it too. And they were like, it was like one of the very, like, these were probably the last couple scenes they were shooting or whatever. I think Pirate's right. And that was because they shot them together. They didn't shoot them in separate nights, right? Like, they shot this and the other scene at the same time, obviously. Yeah. So
you've got mental.
Getting out of here, Damien. Well, go then. I am. All right.
I'm gone.
They can't even break up without being funny.
Yeah. And then Wayne lays the smackdown with, well, this comments because, "Hey, no, this guy wants to boing you." Comment, Megadeth. There's 2 Megadeth posters. I want to acknowledge that too. So I forgot to mention because at Cassandra's Jam Space, there's one of their Megadeth's mascot, Vic Rattlehead. It was on the pillar. If you know what the pillars are, the things that keep the building standing. There was a Vic Rattlehead. Also, the drummer from Alice Cooper's band, Jimmy DeGrasso, who was in this movie, went on to join Megadeth 6 years later. So it was kind of a weird foreshadowing that Megadeth and Alice Cooper both had big involvement in both these movies, and yet they had crossover with their bands later on in the world. But I lost my girl. I'm being shit on. That's all. Shit
you know
on.
what really pisses me off?
And the camera starts to leave him.
No,
right?
come on, man. Come back here. I mean, come on.
Where are you going?
I didn't mean to take it out on you.
What's up, sci-fi from ETV?
Well, there is
How
a
you doing,
connection,
man?
even though we went a little bit on a venture there, besides Chris Farley being in the movie. I mean, obviously, the obvious thing is for those who, obviously, the few that may not know, Chris Farley was supposed to be Shrek.
Yes,
Like, he
Yeah,
was
I do know
Shrek.
about
We're
that.
posting that
Yeah.
in the chat,
Yeah, and they started the movie with Chris Farley. They even have the recordings and pencil tests and everything. And after he passed away, they reconfigured the film for Mike Myers. So, like, yeah, there's a
Wow.
weird connection there. Yeah.
You know, it's weird today with all this AI voice work. They maybe they would have finished the movie with Farley.
It would be
as
cool to
Shrek.
see the Farley version because it was a
Yeah.
bit different. Like, because the Farley version was more Chris Farley. It was a lot more about the ogre not being accepted and you know, how he felt. And, you know, it was
Yep.
really tailored for Chris originally.
I mean, did they ever have any of that on like some of the special features or?
Not
make
on the
sense for
special
that?
features so much, but if you go on YouTube, there has been leaked stuff that you can see
Some of the stuff,
yeah, some of it, yeah.
I'm trying to imagine Chris Farley's voice, and all I just hear is, "It's not John Hancock, it's Herbie Hancock." Holy shnikes!
That's kind of more what it is right there. Like, it's kind of like that. Because when Mike
This
Myers come
scene
in,
here.
that was here's the point of Mike Myers being difficult, although it might have worked, is that Mike, when he came onto the project, they did a version of it, and then he decided 2/3 of the way through, he wanted to change the voice. And he insisted on them changing the voice. So in that changing of the voice, they had to reanimate a few things, but it also constituted re-editing everything.
It's expensive,
And that's where he
animation,
came
too.
in with the
God.
Scottish accent, because originally he didn't have the Scottish accent, and for some reason he just insisted on it. But it's Shrek now, right? Like, we wouldn't see it any other way, I don't think. But yeah,
Because it is the sexiest accent in the world.
Release
well,
the
as
Marvel
D-
guys.
Nathaniel just said, thanks to Mike Myers, all ogres now have
Scottish
Scottish
accents.
accents.
Yeah.
Scottish accents. Yeah.
And
Well,
the
you know
movie
why-
made enough money, right? So
But you know why he's so keen on that accent? It's because he did spend a couple of years working in Scottish television before he went back and did the SNL stuff when he was unknown. He actually worked on Scottish TV shows and lived in Scotland for 2 or 3 years, as well as having generally having a British background anyway. He specifically spent time in Scotland. He's kind of mocking it, but also paying tribute to it when he uses that accent.
No more Scottish accent.
Hey, he's a break. There's a piper doon. There's a piper doon.
So okay, I forgot to mention someone else, and if someone mentioned it, I forgot. I apologize. But there was a director in this movie, and it was a woman. So this movie was ahead of its time in having a lady. Penelope Shearis directed this movie.
Yep.
And she didn't come back for the sequel because, like everyone else, had Myers there was some difficulty there between the two, and he specifically did not want her back for the sequel. So Myers got a lot of his way on a lot of things, and that was one of them. But yes, she is definitely responsible to a huge degree on this movie. And
Wait, that can't be. I was told that women were not a part of anything until.
Hold on, I'm
2022.
wrong.
Jennifer Lawrence was actually the
directed
director,
this movie.
Director,
Yes, Jennifer
Well,
Lawrence.
she turned it down. That's how Penelope got the job.
Oh yeah, Jennifer Lawrence turned it down. Okay, that makes sense. See, I can't even now. I hear about with Steve Vai and Nikki Sixx possibly being involved. I don't want to imagine Steve Vai. I was gonna say phrasing here. Big snake around him. I don't want to imagine Steve Vai that and shredding. That doesn't. No, he probably wouldn't be shredding in this movie because he had to act the part of this backing.
Oh,
band,
you meant
but-
they were supposed to be playing her band. Okay, gotcha. I missed
Yep.
that part earlier.
Yes, I don't want to imagine Vi doing that. I can see Nikki Sixx doing that, but I don't see Steve Vai doing that.
we need
It
some
just
white
doesn't-
snake here. Should have been a white
See, there you go. Yeah, some white snake. This phrasing, this snake weighs
Snake
a
weighs a
ton.
ton.
And I know that how that's movies work and shit, but like the idea that they're recording a music video for a cover song.
Oh, that's nothing new. A lot of bands start off with cover songs. I was just going to ask Brian, which was the other, because we got a sweet song she did.
There's a sweet song in this. There's a couple.
This
of
is whose song is this one?
Is this? Has she done?
Ain't got
Ballroom
no
Blitz?
reason. Yeah, that one's this. That one she in the earlier
I
part.
can't remember the order they're in, but there's Ballroom Blitz.
Yeah.
She's already. What did she start with at the beginning? The first song.
Why You Want to Break My Heart? Isn't that the only one she does that's original, or is that a cover
That's
song
her
too?
original. That's her original. Is Why You Want to Break My Heart's original. That's an original from her.
Yeah.
What this one here? She's singing. Who's this one here?
Oh, I couldn't remember.
I can't remember what she's singing here. Touch Me. Is this Touch
Yep,
Me?
Touch
No.
Me. Yep.
Right. I mean, I
You
understand
said
that bands do
touch-
covers, but I'm saying like she's getting signed and the guy comes in and she's playing a cover. That's my thing I'm trying to get across is that's not how that
Yeah.
works.
Well, it kind of reminds me of Bow Wow Wow, right? Like when they did I Want Candy and shit like that. You get a lot of that stuff
I
in
think
this
this
era.
might be Touch Me, but
That's what it is. Touch Me, like I said, but I'm trying to remember who did it originally.
I'm looking at the
Oh,
credits
God.
right now from the end. Yeah,
it's
performed. Oh, let's see. Well, it's got the writers, but doesn't tell you performed it originally.
Yeah.
shit. Touch Me. It's not Do You Want to Touch? That's a different song.
It's like ain't got no reason for reaction.
I'll have to look
That's-
it up. I can't remember.
And it's not
Yeah.
touch
Oh,
myself either, right?
sorry. No,
I
is it?
love the way that you love me, baby. Love the way that you lie.
I just it's just funny that you looked at this like the snake ways it's on here saying that.
Touch
Who's
me.
gotten that in the panel? Who's had that problem?
The only other song I can think of is The Doors, but that's a different Touch Me.
Oh, whoa.
Was
Yeah, I'm
it
trying to
Under
show
Rover by the T1000?
Because this isn't, unless this is one of her other original
It
songs.
could be an original, to be honest. I don't think it is a cover.
I was
don't-
wondering about
only
that. Yeah.
Touch Me by The Doors is the only one I can think of. That's a different song entirely.
So
Have
good.
you seen this boy?
He's got the
God,
walk too. He does the same walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not Edward Furlong though on the clip, I think, right? Oh, it's
No, it's not. It's not Ed Furlong. We could. I mean, I at least I don't think it was because I don't remember the kid looking like Edward Furlong in the photo. No, that's definitely not.
I actually think Ballroom Blitz is the only cover.
Yeah, looking it up now. Actually, I remember now. This song is not on the soundtrack. It is called "Touch Me."
Yeah.
It looks like she did it originally, and then somebody called Private Life did it, but I have no idea who.
No,
they
I
are.
don't know who they are. No.
Yeah, and that's a
She
new
did sing her own vocals though. It's
Oh,
her
yeah,
vocals. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, Ballroom Blitz, obviously famous, sweet song.
there was
Nikki
another
Chin
song she sang there in that scene too, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
Wasn't the other one was the Dwight Twilley thing? Why You Want to Break My Heart?
No, it's not that one. That one was playing. That's in the other scene where they break up. Let me look it up here.
I do not know. I yield.
I just can't
I just
remember.
know that I still need a vinyl.
I just know she's hot.
I
I don't think this
I
was originally released on vinyl, if I remember right, because vinyls were dead by this.
No,
point.
they were dead by then, but as far as like reissues and all that stuff, I think they've come out with editions of it since. If not,
Everything About You wasn't on the soundtrack either.
That was the Ugly Kid Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, oh
Whatever-
yeah.
whatever happened to them?
That was actually Ugly Kid Joe. Well, their drummer went on to become part of this big band. And even though I'm not a fan of that big band, I do like him as a drummer. That would be Shannon Larkin. Shannon Larkin went on to become a part of Godsmack. Like I said,
Oh,
I'm not a fan of Godsmack, but Shannon Larkin is a fucking killer drummer. Like his drum solo, I'm not a drum solo guy. I actually rather have a band play more songs of their material than, but that is the one drum solo I will watch the shit out of is Shannon Larkin's. That guy is a monster player. I hate saying it because I'm making it sound like I like his band, but I'm just, dude, look up Shannon Larkin. And the stuff he did in Ugly Kid Joe is good too. Like Shannon Larkin was a monster player. And same shit with Nickelback. Can't stand them. But Daniel Adair, holy shit, another monster player. You wouldn't think it because you think, oh yeah, Nickelback. No, seriously. Like that Daniel Adair, he could do some Meshuggah level type of shit. And if you're in the chat and you know who Meshuggah are, you should know there are some really crazy complex patterns going on in Meshuggah. I mean,
I love this
lead,
bit here.
nothing
The
oh,
Oscar
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
You know what the worst part is? You know what the worst part is? I never learned to read. Is that true? Well, everything but the reading part.
He plants
We
the
all
tears,
know
but-
there is no film in this camera.
I love he just puts the tears on him.
Well, it looks like you thought of everything.
Yeah.
You were I can only imagine. Excellent. And it works out, right? And then
In a
Rob Lowe's
world.
like, bro, what? Bro. Okay,
All right. Well,
I love
what a
this.
nerd. I'm such a nerd, so of course I have these figures. So
you do? Dude.
yeah, well, Spock is somewhere, but I course I have that.
Oh,
line
wow.
of-
Oh
line of
yeah.
figures. So those are from 91. Yeah, so
Well, of course, this was
I'm
a
looking at
Paramount
the-
picture, so.
Paramount, yeah. So they got. I'm like, oh man, I recognize those.
But they've got the
figures.
Freddy glove there too. He's got
Freddy
the
glove,
Sega
yeah.
Genesis. He's got the Phantom.
What game is he
Yeah.
playing there?
Oh,
Do
no,
you have that
the
one
Game
alien
Gear.
figure too there? I forgot the name of the race.
Oh,
but,
that's the Telosian. I
the
do
Telosian,
not
yeah.
have. I do not have that one.
Oh wow!
And that,
That's
but or maybe I do. It's in a
It looks like there's
action figure
another.
box.
What's on the top there? Isn't that other creature from the one other episode?
Mugatu. It looks
Yeah.
like, yeah, maybe. And then that looks like an old IBM original AT or something. It's a really old computer there.
If I triangulate all the satellites and then bounce it
This
back
is the
up.
bit, yeah. He's
Yeah,
to the nerdiest bit.
yeah. There's a Mugatu. Yeah,
It just might work.
the dog still got the hair. Yeah, that's the old school IBM keyboard there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think they're just trying to make the dog's hair with like his hair. I think is.
Oh no,
Yeah,
they
okay,
totally
sure, yeah.
are. Totally are.
Yeah.
It's actually kind
Oh.
of freaky how much they succeeded making his dog look like him. You know, I've
there's
I've
ano-
heard the whole story of like the dog ends up looking like their owner, and wow.
Oh, there's
That's
a Gorn
right,
up here
good.
too from Star Trek.
Oh,
There's
I
a
see it
Gorn-
now,
the
yeah.
Gorn. The Gorn. I don't know who that is to the left, but yeah, that's just-
Oh.
It looks like a chick, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I don't know who that. I can't tell. So yeah, when you clip the movies, you catch things that you maybe wouldn't normally see. And he's wearing a calculator watch there too from Radio
yeah.
Shack. Looks like
Yep.
or Casio. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
and
the
he's got. Is it a
calculator on
Sega
the watch.
Nomad there, or is that a? Which
Let's
Genesis portable is that? Right to the left
That's
of
the
the
Game
computer.
Gear.
Is that the
Game
Game, Gear?
Gear.
Yeah.
Game Gear, yep.
Sega Game.
I was trying to remember if the
Gear.
Game Gear was out yet or not.
I think that was like their best console. I mean, that's one I wanted.
I remember wanting their Saturn because that was when like I heard about 3D, and yet remember you
Oh,
could use
yeah.
the guns
Right.
and do the shooters.
Yep.
That to me was like, oh, I want to have the gun so I could do the shooting. Like that was like, come on, man, I want a Saturn. But yeah, I do remember Game Gear because that thing was like it was kind of like those brick-sized car phones, but except it was Sega Game Gear. It was that big
Yeah.
brick of a console in your hand. But it
It's
was
like
so
same
cool to
size
have
as
one.
a Wii U. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you want to think about it, this is kind of technically the end of the movie because we get 3 different endings from
Yeah.
here on.
Mm.
That's right. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, and there's a Starship Enterprise back here. I never.
Yeah, I was
noticed
just
it.
going to
Right
point
behind-
that out too.
Yeah, that's an Enterprise. Yeah, so cool room, Garth. Way to go. Most excellent.
He's one of us.
Death
One
Angel
of us.
Shadow. I wondered the same thing at first when I saw where it said Mr. Big. I'm like, is that about the band? Obviously, Paul.
Yeah, right.
They were kind of big then at that point.
Yeah.
Hey
that was-
guys, wait up! I fell on my keys.
oh my
Ow,
keys.
ow, ow.
I like the attention to detail in both the basement and the bedroom scenes. All the little details that you just pointed out. I love that attention to detail. They didn't just throw it together. It looks like somebody actually knew how people lived.
But 70s, you're missing something.
Oh, this guy
Russell.
Kurt Fuller here, by the way, he nearly played the what's the doctor in the doctor in Star Trek, Roberto Picard.
Oh, really?
They're not
Robert
Picard.
Picardo, the doctor,
Picardo,
the
yeah.
hologram.
He was number 2 choice to play
I
that
didn't know that.
character. Yeah, he was
He
the
could have
second
worked
choice.
at that.
But
Yeah.
70s.
I always think of him as the
On
assistant
Voyager.
to the mayor
Voyager,
in Ghostbusters too. That's where I
Yep.
was.
I never
thinking.
remember his name. Voyager. Yeah.
But 70s, I love you, man.
Just say thank you.
I love you.
I know.
Because I've learned that platonic love can exist between two men.
Oh, imagine that.
Two grown men, sorry, two grown men.
I love you, man. I
And
know.
then what's the line after that? And I've learned something too. I've learned that a flawless profile, a perfect body, the right clothes, and a great car can get you far in America. I had to read that one because I couldn't memorize it.
Now I'm gonna hurl. So is it false advertising that the poster said you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll hurl? Because I'm glad I watched this and I didn't hurl. I'm glad I didn't. If everyone remembers the poster,
Hurl is another word that it threw into the vernacular too. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Blowing chunks and hurling. It was all
Blowing chunks and hurling. Yeah.
Blowing
popularized
chunks and hurling, as you're saying, as Rob Lowe is getting something shoved up his ass. What timing?
Yeah. Yeah, the next thing we see him walking away from the car, he's stumbling away. Yeah. Poor Rob Lowe. Sacrifices he made for the movie.
And yes, Rob's hair did look immovable in the movie. I agree. Like I feel like his hair just like a wind couldn't move his hair.
Plastic
Straight
hair.
up. Yeah. Well, no, he didn't have a wig. And on top, I was gonna say, did he have a wig in Tommy Boy? Then I realized it was David Spade who had a wig in Tommy Boy. I remember now. I remember now. But no, I love how they do the Scooby-Doo eyes ending with this. How they Scooby-Doo it, because like we can't have like a dark, dismal ending. Like what kind of shit is that? That it can't be that way. And
don't watch Velma. Don't watch Velma.
I'm not. I don't want to. No, once again, see, thank you, Bungle. I that's why I said at the very beginning of the stream, like Rob Lowe, like even though he's not the funny character, he's absolutely awesome in this movie. But outside of Myers and Carvey, he's a great asshole. He's really good at playing the asshole. Between this and Tommy Boy, he was absolutely awesome in both movies. So when I first heard him speak outside movies, it threw me off guard because I was so used to him like being an asshole that when I see him just being like a cordial guy, I was like, whoa, Rob Lowe.
Well, he was a teen heartthrob in the 80s.
That's what I learned later on.
Original Brat Pack, yeah.
Hey, you know,
don't mention teens and Rob Lowe in the same sentence.
That's the other thing we have a problem with. I thought I'd get past that. It's all right.
Yeah, the first movie I remember seeing Rob Lowe in was I was probably too young to see the movie, but was About Last Night.
Oh yeah.
Anybody remember that one?
I
remember that one. Yep. That was a good one. And
of course, at this point, he was in like St. Elmo's Fire and
The Stand. Didn't he? Wasn't in the? Isn't he in the Stand?
You're thinking of Gary Sinise, I think.
I thought Rob Lowe played the deaf.
Was it? Or no, maybe you're right. You're right. He is in it. Yes, he
was
in
the
it.
deaf.
Yes.
He was, or the mute, or wherever the mute guy. Yeah. But he was pretty young. He was still pretty young then.
A Rob Lowe movie that might be good for Toxic Tuesday in '70s probably likes this movie is Youngblood because it's got lots of.
Well, Youngblood, he's plays a.
That's a really weird title that he was in a movie called Youngblood.
That movie also features, I think, Keanu's in it as a goalie.
Yeah.
And Patrick Swayze's in it. Is that right?
Yeah, Patrick Swayze. Tea Time was special in that movie. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, Nick Weiser,
I got a clip of it I use on my Bourbon and Boarding show in Brahma's.
Oh, we'll do that one. We'll definitely do that movie. That's
interesting
for sure.
Because of the people that are in the background in it. I mean, Keanu's in it for like 2 minutes and just various slots in the background playing a goalie, but. It's not just a good shot there. But not.
What'd you say? That was a hat trick.
What?
Go was back. See that? See the hat trick? Spore.
Spore. What? Who? Wayne. Dude, when I first saw him, like, oh shit, this is gonna be end badly. And then when I saw that they just undid their own ending, I laughed so hard. That's hilarious. They did their own ending.
Well, yeah, it's comedy, right? Who cares? We can't screw up.
I know. I've been so moody. I'm pregnant, Wayne.
Oh yeah.
It's Rob Lowe's.
Wait, I'm pregnant. Man. It's so funny to see it too, because like even when you finally get to the third ending, they all come together. You know, like whether they're on the same side or against each other, they all come together to party together and get their lesson learned speech from the movie. Like, wow,
Why, God? Why?
They realized the entire time that they were playing a movie in a way.
Youngblood, Rob Lowe scoring the
Look at that play.
winning
Rob
goal.
Lowe knows how to score.
He does.
Literally.
The more importantly, in the movie, he has to learn how to fight.
The
He's
Rob
not a
Lowe
fighter.
jokes. Now he can't. Now you got me going on the Rob Lowe jokes. I can't even stop them. You got me going here with the Lowe jokes.
Holy moly.
I remember thinking, oh shit, she's actually gonna end up with Rob Lowe. Like, wow. And he even makes a comment. He's like, you didn't think she was gonna end up with Wayne, did you?
It's worth getting these scenes though, just to get these scenes.
Yeah.
No other reason.
I wonder why. And once again, Rob Lowe's hair doesn't move.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
Just
I don't know why the slideshow. I don't know the slideshow. I think it's broken. It's stuck right now.
He better not stay out in the sun too long.
Damn.
It will melt. His hair will melt.
Does anybody remember the I think
Take
it was
your time. Fix it when you
Domino's? Was it the Domino's ad? Like the whole Rob Lowe thing, like peaked in high school Rob Lowe, too hairy Rob Lowe.
Oh yeah, was that a Super Bowl ad or?
I don't
I know
remember.
they were regular ads. I saw them all the
Yeah.
time when we used to have actual commercials. And
I say I might not have had TV at that time, evidently.
Yeah.
So,
it's probably
this reminds me of
6-7
this
years
scene.
ago.
From one of my favorite movies.
I was overwhelmed. You're a true artist.
Just let me sleep a while. Regain my strength. 5 minutes. A grace period, if you will.
Please.
Mr. Cusack's no, not as popular anymore, but
He's no Rob Lowe.
he's no Rob Lowe. But yeah, I love that. I love that.
He's got a little cuckoo for cuckoo chew. You know?
fuck you, Cusack.
Yeah.
The grace period, if you will. I use that line all the time.
Well, Jonah, you are talking about Toxic Tuesday, and
We do
Toxic
love
Tuesday,
Rob Lowe.
We do.
I mean, you want to know how much we love Rob Lowe?
Hail to Jonah.
Yeah.
We love him enough to give him a Rocky Apollo hug.
We love him
That's right.
3,000.
Oh,
3,000.
I still think we need an Armstrong and Jackson hug, but I don't know if that
You didn't
is-
really think she'd end up with Wayne, did you?
I did. This movie fooled me, man. It straight up fooled me. I was like, "Fuck."
As
dude.
if.
His delivery is great.
in the
too.
movie like that. Scooby-Doo ending. Good call.
Oh.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
It was the guy at the donut joint earlier in the movie.
The old guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Old man
Oh,
Smithers.
Damn, meddling kids.
I like how in all the endings, Rob Lowe still has a crooked ass. Like, no matter what changes, Rob Lowe still has his ass crooked. Like, it's just they live in a movie.
Just for the absurdity of it, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is, Brian Park.
It's just fun.
Don't think too much about it. This is not. Yeah, it's not meant to be.
Because
one of those
honestly,
movies.
if it doesn't have these, if this wasn't part of the original idea anyway, which I'm assuming it was, I mean, really, the original ending's kind of boring anyhow. I
Well, the
mean,
reason they had 3 endings is they didn't want 4.
One right.
Uh,
Excellent Scooby-Doo ending.
but I think we should do the mega happy ending. That sounds very long.
So the mega happy ending is basically
the mega happy ending.
so basically the happy ending, the mega happy ending is the actual ending of the movie we would have normally got. So like how uneventful would that have been?
Your phrasing
Yeah,
made
just
that sound really gay.
It's another
Probably
boring
was.
happy ending.
What a boring happy ending. I mean, how boring could it be?
Yeah.
She gets the deal. They say goodnight. You know.
I know, but then she go to
album
White
deal.
House.
There's more to a happy ending than just getting an
I do
album.
like the architecture of that outfit she's wearing, though. It's perfectly wired.
You're right. They don't fucking kiss. That is so weird.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go back to that. Yeah, they don't kiss. Yeah. Are you admiring
hug.
the supports there?
The support system. It's a marvel of modern
lot of it-
technology.
A lot of engineering went into that. Yeah.
That's right. The peak of Western civilization. They never kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they do.
They kiss.
But they
That is
do.
so fucking weird. I want to know why now. What happened?
Yeah.
What is going on here?
So
Maybe
Someone
one
had
of
that-
that stinky
Someone
breath.
had herpes.
one of them got the cream of some young guy, and the other one didn't.
I
That'd
wonder
be
if they
weird
didn't
moment.
get along or something. Maybe I
Possibly.
don't get it.
I don't know.
I
I
guess
mean,
so.
she
Yeah.
did get married in
Probably never
1992,
get
but I
that
don't.
answer.
But she's been in a bunch of other movies. I'm trying to remember. I would imagine she had to have kissed somebody on screen at some
Didn't
point.
she pose for Playboy too a few years
I don't
later?
know.
after
There
this?
there are actors and maybe actresses that will not kiss people on screen because they're so.
But Mike
Devoutly
Myers
whatever.
has.
I mean, she's
Yeah, Mike
done
Myers.
nudity. You can find it on the internet.
Yeah, but that's not kissing. I mean,
I mean,
Oh my god.
I mean,
It goes a little
theoretically, I've
more
been told that
invasive than
hookers
kissing.
don't kiss you, but you know, I just
That is
learned
true.
that in movies
This-
how do you
Movies
know
taught
that,
me.
70s?
because movies taught me that.
You weren't supposed to talk about Vegas.
What happens in Vegas, yeah, is usually all over the internet within minutes. But
Right.
Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman said that she doesn't kiss people.
Oh, my face hurts officially.
Okay, I don't have an answer for that,
We
but
should do that
according
with
to
Toxicity.
Tia, the original version of the band was supposed to all be Asian. And the joke was none of them could speak English, even though they kicked ass on stage.
And yes, guys, there are after credit scenes in this movie. It was done before Marvel. It
Yeah.
was. It's true. It's in this movie.
Well, Mike Myers is pretty keen on those. He did them. He's done a lot of those.
Oh, and Tia Carrere was also voice of Snooki in Aloha Scooby Doo. So she was actually.
She
an
also is, of
animated-
course, yeah, well, she's also in Lilo and Stitch, famously.
Oh,
As a big
wasn't
sister.
she
She does good
Pocahontas?
Snooki. She does good Snooki.
Wasn't she Pocahontas?
I don't know
at one
about
point?
Pocahontas, but I know she's in Lilo and Stitch.
Pocahontas.
Never poke your highness.
Oh wow! Look, how about this for nerd
I'll have your
connection?
head for that.
Tia Carrere sang. She was featured in the soundtrack of Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, performing the ending theme. I never even told you. Wow, that's the
Didn't she
best
do
Batman
a voice in the
there is.
movie too?
They're not. Well, let's see if let me check to see if they list her on that.
She
Let's see.
hated the trashy red outfit, but she still has it.
Can she still
Did
get into
she?
it though?
Probably.
As far as I'm aware.
With an underlying
saying.
revisionist conceit.
Wow. Poke.
With a hot ass, yeah.
That was the old joke about
I can't
Princess, some guy that was having an affair with Princess Diana. His Pocahontas or something was the punchline. I can't remember the whole joke.
I can't find anything as to why they won't kiss. It didn't kiss each other anymore, but yeah.
That is so. See,
Oh, and she was in True Lies, not that which we just did.
Somebody had herpes.
Right. Something was going on there.
The Iron Smith is a new sub, and I want to not only acknowledge it, but since he asked this question, I guess I'll just acknowledge this right away. So thank you for subbing to the channel, by the way. Do appreciate that, the Iron Smith. Since next week is Valentine's Day, I'll be out with my girlfriend for that night. But the week after, we will be talking absolutely, and the word underrated gets overly used a lot, ironically. But this one movie has Dolph Lundgren and Brandon Lee. It's called Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
And that's the movie we're going to talk in 2 weeks from tonight. And then after that, for the 3 weeks following that, after is we 3 straight weeks of John Wick.
Oh dang.
1, 2, and 3. And not only that, we're going to have the Dick's division involved in all of them. So if you thought it was already gay, it's going to get a whole lot gayer.
Whole lot of dick.
A whole lot gayer. So
Whole bag.
You'll get a little bit of the man flu, you get a little bit of the comics division. You might even get, oh my god, the cock with Culture Casino.
She says something about Mike Myers being shy here. And he
Maybe
was
it's
rooting
as
for her to get
simple
the
as
part, but
maybe it's as simple as one of them had a cold or
I don't know. It's just weird.
a cold sore or something. It could just,
Cold
something
sore
like that.
from like Spinal Tap.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a band. Everyone there was in a band or a roadie. So
Yeah.
All right. And all score. See, the chat already knows the ritual. I already see a lot of scores coming out. I love it. The chat knows now. So, okay, since there's a few new faces here, I'll lay it down. I want the chat lay out your scores and how toxic this movie is, and overall scores of how great this movie is. And if you're not understanding the vibe, well, just watch everyone else in the chat who is doing it, because they know how the ritual goes. But yes, it's gonna be yes. Please come back. I promise you, it's gonna be a glorious time, because the next 4 movies are gonna be guns, lots of guns,
Yeah.
lots
There
of guns.
should be.
Right, as it should be. So it's gonna be a blast. No pun intended. I swear that was not meant to be a pun. So, yeah, I'll actually, since we got some of them, I'll acknowledge these scores right off the bat. Vince Womack overall 8, Toxicity 4.3, Brian Barth is 9 and 9, Keely Chow 10-10, and then Masquerade. I love this movie so much. Quintessential rocker movie. 10 out of 10 overall. 10 out of 10 Toxicity. Boosh McFadden 10 out of 10, no doubt. I didn't get a lot of Toxicity out of this one. 4 happy endings out of 10 for Toxicity. Vor Exelon for $5 says sometimes it's the happy ending you didn't want, like in prison.
Oops.
Oh man, that is so shitty, but that is hilarious. Thank you, Vor
Double
Exelon.
entendre there, Nick.
Pirate Tomsky with another English 2 pounds. I knew I wasn't going crazy with the kissing thingy. No, you were not. You were right, sir. And thank you again.
I just never noticed it or really thought about it.
I
Until
never
they brought
thought
it
about
up.
that. It's the first time I've ever noticed that. Yeah.
Anyone know Mike Myers? We can ask.
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know.
Let me just get a
Reach
hold of
him on
Mike Myers
Twitter.
right now. Yeah, right.
Tina, let's get her on
Text him.
Twitter. Yep.
All
Yeah.
right. Vor Exelon here says 9, 10, 10, 10. Fat Elvis, Toxicity, 10 and 10. Lovely Sherry, not Toxicity 9, overall 10. And Jack Tarlad. What's up, Jack Tarlad? Toxicity 6, total 10, 10. Radioactive, overall 9. Toxic, 5. I don't recall us being toxic. Kind of agree. Dyrus says 6 toxic, 8.5 overall. Good fun. Mecha J, toxic 9, movie 10. Soul Assassin 10. Movie is too awesome. Plus, I suspect Rob Lowe and Casino use the same hair product. And then Rob Altus, Toxicity 7, overall 9. Swings, but no Stairway. See what you did there. TZ Burton, Toxicity 6, overall 9.5. Laura Flynn, 34B Nibblers. TF40C, Sweet Corns. Stephen M. Callell, Toxicity 9, overall 10. How you doing, Stephen? Bungalow Logic, 810. Not toxic at all. Vocalips, Toxicity 9, movie 10. Sequel Opportunity 11. Ooh, I see what you did. That was almost like heavy metal. Or, not heavy metal. Spinal Tap. I'm getting my metal movies mixed up. Forgive me. A Geek Domino, Toxicity 8, A Capsule of Greatness. Overall 9 out of 10, Ballroom Blitz. Nicely said. Neon Knight, Alice Cooper, and Painkiller makes it a 9. Oh, shit, son. Cosmic Vader, Greatness, 9 out of 10, Party Time. Toxicity, 6 out of 10, Rob Lowe's. Overall, 8 out of 10, Ballroom Blitz. Well said, dude. And I think that's it for them scores. All right. 70s. Go ahead with your final
Oh.
thoughts.
Jeez, I haven't even started my first thoughts, never mind my final ones. I guess I give it 4 camel toes out of 5. I think. It's a magnificent movie, and it has not aged in the slightest. I think it's every 10 years is like a defining comedy, and I think this is the one that defined the 90s, early 90s onwards. Absolutely adore this movie. I don't think there's hardly a note wrong in it. Toxicity, 7.5 out of 10. There's a few toxic. There's certainly things in there that would regarded as toxic today, but even then, there's a few interesting pieces. And as a greatness, 9.5 out of 10. I'm only not giving it 10 because I give a lot of things 10. I just can't keep giving everything 10. So.
No, you cannot. Yes.
So I adore this movie. I absolutely love it. And it'll still be great in 20 years' time.
Awesome. Well said.
And that's about all I got now.
Pirate Tomsky, 9.7. Thank you. All right. Now, Tom.
Wow. Yeah, let's start with the toxicity part of it. This movie's not nearly as toxic. I would say it's probably one of the least toxic films for a Toxic Tuesday, but it's definitely one of the more films that I would say, if somebody asked me, tell me a couple movies to describe Nick Weiser, I would definitely throw Wayne's World in that mix. Like, it's just a slice of life of that time. But the toxicity level, like, if anything, Rob Lowe's character is probably the most toxic in the entire film. With his, just the fact that he's such a snake and perfect representative of whatever Hollywood was then and still is to this day, and the type of things they represent and do, and just the way he is and how he tries to manipulate everything. So if anything, his character's pretty toxic, but on the toxic side of things, I got to go pretty low. Like, I'd go with a 4, maybe 5 on the toxicity level. Because Wayne and Garth are very laid back, cool dudes. And I mean, nothing that they do is very sexist in any way or say or anything like that. I mean, there's a little bit of stuff with the whole, with the ex-girlfriend bit, I guess. So maybe that would bump it up to about a 5, but that's the most I can give it on a toxicity level. As far as the movie itself, like Brian said, it's tough. We give a lot of these films 10 out of 10s, but since we did Waterworld last time and nobody gave that a 10 out of 10, I think it's safe to give this one a 10 out of 10 this week. Wayne's World is one of the greatest comedies of all time. I agree that it's definitely one of the 90s biggest comedies, along with like Dumb and Dumber, probably in that pantheon of, just kind of quintessential 90s comedies. Other than that, it's just one of those movies that will live on forever, and it gets 25 out of 25 Handy Randys.
Handy Randy. Well said, Tom. Thank you as always, sir. All right. Before I transition over, I got one.
Oh, you're transitioning, are you?
Yeah, from Release the McCracken.
About time.
So
That's
thank you,
terrifying.
McCracken. As terrifying as it is, it's quite the delight to look at on screen. Dustin, final thoughts?
Well, all right. So the toxicity is off the charts. Okay, the way that Wayne treats his girlfriend. Okay, he treats her. He doesn't respect her. Doesn't let her do her own thing. Doesn't want her to have her own career. Wants her to be at home. I don't understand. But I mean, it's overall. It's hard to give it it's hard to give it a 10, kind of like what 70 said. Even though we can do what we want, we're manly men, and I think 9.5 is fair. Toxicity, I think, just for Wayne kind of being a jealous jerk to his girlfriend, who's way hotter than way out of his league. It gets like a 5 of toxicity.
Yeah, but he's not wrong though. That's the thing.
But I mean, is he wrong? I mean, but he's jealous of her and him, even though she hasn't shown doing anything wrong.
You're right in that respect, but like Benjamin is trying to get between them.
Oh,
Clearly.
yeah, 100%. But he's taking it out on Tia.
Wait, there was a threesome in this movie? Oh, it is toxic then.
Could be.
He's trying to get between them?
And there should have been some boobies in this movie. There always should be boobies.
You froze up on boobies.
It was a sign.
It was a sign. Yeah.
Is that all,
Message from
Dustin?
God.
That's everything I have. Oh, well, I guess I should say I did get to see the Wayne's World car when it was at Kings Island years and years ago. I was like middle school or high school or something.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
All right,
Okay.
Mark.
Most excellent. So yeah, it's people in the chat are saying, yeah, it's a fun movie. Like, yeah, it's not a serious movie, but it's a damn fun movie, right? I mean, it's doesn't take itself too seriously. It has 3 freaking endings, right? So like Jonah Hex is saying, yeah, good times there when people saw movies to have fun. Exactly that. You go maybe have a few beers before you went to see this movie if you're old enough, and it was like a party movie on the weekend. You just and that the Bohemian Rhapsody car scene. Who hasn't tried to do that with their buddies, right? Maybe I did it with a cassette tape. I didn't have a CD player like the guys in the movie.
I bet you had a pacer though.
Had a pacer, yeah. I wonder what the sales of pacers did after this movie.
It was a pacer, wasn't it?
Yeah, as a pacer, yeah. But yeah, fun, great lines, quotable. Tia is gorgeous in this movie. So, and it's just this, all the jokes. There's nonstop jokes. So it's totally a lot of fun. So toxic. I don't think it's too toxic. I mean, I guess Rob Lowe's character is just an a-hole, but maybe it's the guys, but they're kind of harmless guys, right? They're not mean guys. So I don't know. I gave it a 5 for toxicity. I don't think it's that toxic. They're good-natured guys. They're not. They don't go over the top. So, but other than some of the lines when they're ordering Chinese food, maybe. But and fun, yeah, I'd give this a 9.5. I guess it's anytime, like if this, back in the days before everyone was watching, streaming shows, you don't kind of flip through the channels as much. Like when you're watching the beginning of this movie, Rob Lowe's girlfriend's, flipping through the channels, you see the Chia Pet. So I kind of miss that too. I just like if this movie would come on when you're flipping through, you're watching this to the end. So yeah, and your doctor said, yeah, skit worked, and back when SNL was funny, give them. I don't know. I haven't watched SNL probably in last 6 years, but I don't know if they're ever going to get funny again. I hope they do. It's still on, yeah. But it's a shame that show went so far downhill. But yes, this was a much better time. I was lucky to grow up in this time. I mean, God, it was good. It was fun. You didn't have to worry about all this other political crap in your shows. It was just a good time, and you didn't have to worry about anything else. You could just forget yourself for a couple hours and have fun. So. Yeah, so it's a thumbs up, definite.
All right, thank you, Mark D with the C.
Thank you.
The Shagsworth.
Hey, yeah. Let's see. Well, again, I get done. I'm at the bottom of the list here, but a lot of people have said what needs to be said. I mean, I don't think that this movie was necessarily toxic, but like I said before, I think it was a kind of a good look in the mirror, and I think it was a time when Hollywood could look at itself and make jokes at its own expense. So I would probably put it on like a 4 for Toxicity, just because it does a good job at being self-aware. And I mean, overall, I think that the movie, I wouldn't give it a perfect score. As Thomas said earlier, I think there's a few moments that are not as timeless, but most of this movie you could watch and it all makes sense. You don't need to know everything or need to have lived through it. It just all sort of applies down the line. And so like 9.7 I would give this, because I don't think anything's perfect necessarily. So for the few moments that were not timeless, we'll dock it a few points, a few fractions of a point. But yeah, no, this movie is just, even as a kid, I remember enjoying it and laughing. And then as I got older, it just aged like a fine wine, and it continues to. I hope that we can I hope Hollywood can get back to this sort of thing in the future, because we just don't get good timeless movies anymore, and it's good to come back and recap stuff like this.
You are wrong, sir. The answer is Jaws. There is a level of perfection. That's it. And then from there, it's just, yeah.
It is pretty great. I'll give you that.
All right. But Shagsworth, well said. Thank you kindly, my friend. Okay, I gotta read this super chat from Joe's Atmosphere for $9.99. Man, you guys have been generous tonight. Thank you, by the way, for the super chats. I know Toxic Man Flu, Dash Attack, obviously, blah blah blah. What's his face? Voraxalon, and we had blah blah blah. I'm already. Oh, Pirate Tomsky. Seriously, thank you guys. You guys were absolutely nuts with all these super chats. But Joe here. I knew I was officially old when, as a bartender, I had a customer come up and ask me to have the DJ play that new song by Queen when this movie came out. 11 overall, Toxicity 6. Congrats on 75, Nick. Thank you, Joe. And Joe, I gotta get you back on. You were a great guest, and I'm gonna get you back on. You're definitely who I see as someone who's a reoccurring guest. So let's be in touch, buddy. So, anyways. 9.9. No, for the chat, I'm not worthy of you guys. You guys gave me like nearly triple digits of super chats. You guys are nuts. Seriously.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. And a lot of new subs tonight. Hopefully, seriously, thank you all. Like I said, hopefully you liked what you saw, and hopefully you come back for more, because we'll be back in 2 weeks for Showdown in Little Tokyo, and after that it's gonna be a John Wick marathon. So that's the future of Toxic Tuesday, and it's gonna be a whole lot of guns, whole lot. Trust me, between Keanu Reeves and Dolph Lundgren, it's gonna be huge. All right, it's gonna be huge. So, anyways, yes,
we're gonna need a gun rack,
right? We'll actually need a gun rack this time. But anyways, 9.9 out of 10 for the movie. I mean, it's rewatchable.
A gun rack
is. Is off the.
We're certainly going to need a rack of some kind.
Is I can never get bored. It's a movie I can have on if I need to pass out. It's something I can have for background noise. It's a movie I can say, hey, let's just watch this again, or hey, what are you doing? Hey, let's watch Wayne's World. It's a movie for all occasions, for all times, whether you're alone, with your friends, whether you're family. It really is one of those rare, almost one size fits all, and it does transcend generations, which is great too. And you can see age has done favors for it, like extravagantly. So absolutely awesome movie. Everything about it is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. As far as the references that maybe don't cross over generations, that's true, but I don't blame the movie. I just blame the generation. Yeah. And then Toxicity, I'll say like a 5, because it's really not, but Rob Lowe is a Toxicity 10 alone. So he is the 5 points. That guy is a fucking prick, and he's so damn good at it. So shout out Rob Lowe. Just keep your recordings to yourself. And I'm sure you've been doing that for a while now. But anyways, with that all said, yes, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Showdown Little Tokyo.
Yeah.
And before I get out of here, I'm gonna let
we did overlook one thing. Can I bring up real quick about the movie? We overlooked that this movie had a Ferris Bueller ending. That was a rarity at that time. We have all kinds of movies now that have end credit scenes. Wayne's World was one of the few movies. Yeah, yeah, it had one of those movies like they have a little bit where they talk to each other, and then I love the last bit. It's just like, well, we just hope you didn't think it sucked. Yeah. And then they come back again, and they're just sitting there, and Garth's like reading, or Wayne's like reading a magazine and shit. And they're just sitting there saying nothing. It's like hilarious.
We have to wait till it fades to black, I guess. So.
Yeah, they're not going to just do that, are they? Oh my god, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah.
When do we go home? I think that's what he said. Yeah.
remember watching Ferris Bueller and people were totally confused in the movie theater. They got up and then they ran back to their seats and Broderick's yelling at him like, "It's over. You can go
Ever
now."
since then, I've been paranoid to leave a film before the end. Like until the
Yep.
lights have
Marvel's
gone
only
up, I'm not
compounded
leaving.
it.
I'm
Yeah,
not leaving.
Marvel
That's what I was saying.
conditioned it.
Yeah.
Marvel conditioned it.
So I just kind of did that to Nick himself. I actually just kind of disrupted his end credits with an end credit scene.
Well played.
Well played, Tom. I applaud it. And you know what? Since we're at it, Tom, why don't you say your plugs and fill them?
Well,
And
yeah,
if
you can find
if
me
you
at-
got a radio, you should plug that.
Yeah, I might do some tonight. We'll see here. It's early enough yet. You can
Ooh.
find me at Midnight's Edge After Dark, Mead Radio, all over the place. Of course, hanging out with some of these gentlemen from time to time. And some of these gentlemen, I got to get on my channel one of these days here. So, yeah.
Agreed.
The ones who
Yes.
haven't been on yet.
Yep,
Yes.
I gotta
Tom?
make it on there. Yep, like, you had
Yeah,
invited
you got to
me,
get on
but
there,
yeah, we
Mark.
gotta-
Yeah, no, you're
we'd
totally
love to come
invited,
on,
dude.
yep.
Just
Thank
say
you.
hi in the chat. That's usually what you got to do. And as soon as I see you, be like,
Yep.
oh, and then I'll send you a link. Because I don't
Appreciate it.
I don't like to bug people when they're like busy. So, yeah.
So
Yeah, you never
basically,
know.
Mark,
Yeah,
he wants you to come. So now you better
Yep.
come.
All right.
And if you
I
don't
shall.
come,
I
Oh,
shall.
you'll come, Mark. You will come.
oh,
Kick your butt.
Why do you
All
think
right.
Nick keeps coming back over and over
And
and
I-
over?
here's
and
the thing.
I thought it was the
I
free
let-
pizza.
I always let Tom know before I do, so that way it's completely consensual.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come every time, and it's like I would never expect otherwise. But yeah, the one
Listen-
time he didn't come, I'm like, what? Nick's not gonna come?
I was, I felt bad.
That was
I
not a
didn't come.
pleasurable experience.
No, he got blue balls like a
He must have been
motherfucker.
blue.
Tom, thank you for hanging out as always and giving
Love you,
your
Brian. Love you,
amazing,
Love you.
amazing time. Love you, man. Seriously, like, thank you for helping the show. become what
75
it was.
episodes, man. That's amazing. That's
Awesome.
that's amazing. It's awesome. I can't wait to do more of these with you guys. I love this concept. I love this idea. It's a great way to talk about things we love. And that's something that we don't get to do enough here, unfortunately.
Well, just remember, we thought tonight was huge, and this is gonna be our secret between me, you, and the panel. Episode 100 is gonna be so monstrously huge. Like some of us, we might bust nuts. That's how huge episode 100
Oh,
is.
jeez.
I mean,
I hope I'm here for that.
I know it. Steel Magnolias. Yes.
Fried green tomatoes.
A crying game.
That's episode 101 is fried green tomatoes. We're going to make a trilogy out of this thing. Beaches is going to be off the fucking charts.
So the fried
gonna
green
cry.
tomatoes.
All you
That
need
parking
to
lot.
ride it.
That parking lot scene is pretty toxic when she smashes the girl's car.
It is
But I
actually
have
kind
more-
of.
I have more insurance than you. I died laughing at that one. But yeah, this is always fun to be here on Tuesday night. Much appreciated. Hope you guys like the slideshow, despite the lack of Mad Mardigan appearing tonight. But I think Tia made up for that. But yeah, check out my channel. And thank you, RK, for posting all the links and wrenching tonight. Much appreciated, and all the other wrenches. And the chat's been awesome tonight. So if you like Star Trek, I just did a toy run to Hobby Lobby. I've never been there, so I did a whole. I got a lot of people to spend money in Hobby Lobby. So if you like Star Trek, old toys, toy reviews, things like that, check out my channel. I'm on Sunday night. Sunday Night Geekery is my late night show, 10 p.m. Eastern. Hang out with talking about what's happening during the week. Like why not to watch Velma, but then most of the time we talk about stuff that we love. So, just have a lot of fun with that. And Thursday night I'm on with Clobbering Times and Raquel Briggs, Clobby's Clubhouse, and I always popping in on Clobbering Time streams, and of course Toxic Tuesday always here. So always look forward to this. So thanks everyone, and sub to all my buddies on this panel here. We got to get 70s to 1,000. I think what are you at, 920 now, buddy?
911.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be
9/11.
912. That's a
Yeah,
weird
and one of
number.
those. I was at my mom's today, and I subbed to you from my mom's computer.
That's the 911 then. That was the one today. There was one today.
Yeah.
You're the one who made it weird, Mark.
Thanks to your mom.
I can't get her printer. I can't get her damn printer to print over the
Hold
damn
on.
Wi-Fi.
You don't think his mom? That's way too straight of you to do that.
Thanks to your mom's computer, then.
Yeah, his mom's
There
computer.
you go.
Yeah. So yep. So everyone sub to 70s and everyone else there. Yep. But always a lot of fun, and appreciate anyone who stops by the channel and checks it out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dustin.
Channel is Keto Simple. We do keto reviews. We do all kinds of stuff. We do recipes. I've got some stuff coming up. Just dropped a review today for Athletic Greens or AG1. Got some more stuff I'm working on. Stop by if you're into keto. If you're not, I mean, still some good food. We're funny, at least I think so. You know, I did hit my 2,500 or
Nice
250,000 views mark.
Nice.
So I got a quarter
Nice.
million.
Congrats, dude.
good stuff.
Fucking
So-
awesome, dude. Well done.
Only a few million more to go, so I can have a paycheck.
Oh, yeah. Dustin's gonna be rich. He'd be loaded on dough. All right, dude. Guys, check out Keto Simple. He's absolutely on the grind again. And yes, he did, like he said, put new videos. Go watch them. He knows how to entertain, and he knows also how to educate you on said subject at the same time. So it's the best of both worlds. Textbook, literally. Dustin, thank you as always for being a part of this show, man. I'm glad to call you a friend.
Dude, I'm so glad to be here, man.
I'm happy to have you, and I know we got many more of this to come, and I'm sure the next time we cross paths in person, some pizza and some alcohol is bound to be had.
For fucking sure.
70s.
Hello. How the devil are you? Thanks, Nick. Again, 75 shows. This is such a great thing you've created here, and I'm very proud to be a part of it. Thanks, buddy. And to be on this panel with everybody that was here tonight and those who were on the panel, another night. It's been a blast, and let's do the next 75 and then beyond. You know.
Oh, yes.
Let's keep going. And I'm certainly very excited for the next 4 that you've just outlined. 3 John Wicks and the Tokyo. Yeah, so things are happening on the channel. I had a bit of a quieter week. I didn't do a show yesterday, just some personal stuff to take care of, but we're doing rather well. Lots of exciting things planned for the next few months. You can catch me on in terms of my regular shows. Saturday night, Brahma Bull and I do a hockey show, Bourbon and Boarding, 10 p.m. Mountain Time on my YouTube and his Rumble, where we sit and drink and show people hitting each other on the ice, which is always fun. And then next Monday, it's Only Talk and Roll. My regular show will be back, and next week we're doing the grunge era. So I do have those Eddie Vedder parodies that even Pearl Jam fans can't understand a word he says. So I don't think he even knows what he's singing. So that's Brahma Bull will be my special guest. I know he's a big fan of Alice in Chains and bands like that. So that's going to be an interesting show because there are others on the panel that may not be quite as keen. So we may have an interesting discussion there. And the following week after that, just to look further ahead for the rest of the month, I'm going to do Flash Gordon, the 1980 Flash Gordon, the week after that on the show. But the February 27th show will be a birthday special. It will be my birthday on that day, and it's got a 0 at the end of it. And I'm embarrassed to say
I will be there. I will be there.
I'm hoping you will all be there.
I will come
and popping in, and I'd be so happy, Nick. You've been a huge supporter of mine. I really appreciate it, mate. It's I love you, brother. So
love you, man.
And you guys are all the greatest. You're all welcome. I will be 60 years old on that day. So, believe it or not, I'm going to be the big 60. So,
but you're not too old to rock and roll.
Never too old to rock and roll. Too young to die.
Yeah,
That's
my
But
favorite
you
band.
are still on wheels of steel, my friend, in denim and leather.
He's in a wheelchair.
If anything, I should be the way my back has been the last few months.
We'll be in the
so-
nursing home in 20 years arguing about what metal band to play in the nursing
Exactly.
home.
Turn that up. It's already the walls are shaking, but I'm deaf, so I can't hear it.
Can't hear you.
Turn that fucking music up. But yeah, I'm still rocking, so still playing the music loud. And I'm working on a couple of new videos too. One about a British band called The Move, who are from the 60s, and it turned into ELO eventually. But so it's working on that. But you know, I pop up in lots of places, Midnight's Edge After Dark, and other places like that. So anyway, that's enough from me. Carry on.
All right, 70s. Thank you as
Thanks
always,
to the
sir.
chat, and I see a lot of my supporters in the chat, and love you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So happy to have you as a regular on here. You really add so much to the show. And the show really wouldn't be what it is, like I say to Mark and Gerry and Dustin and Tom and
Gerry.
we really, the culmination of all of our ingredients, gay, really makes this channel what it is.
Gerry always gets in through the back door.
Well, that's why he's backdoor Gerry. All right, and to our guest tonight, the Shagsworth.
Yeah, Nick, thanks for having me on. I didn't say as much as I maybe should have or maybe wanted to, but you guys are awesome. I just like listening to you guys most times, so I just let you roll. But I thank you, Nick, because you've been a huge supporter of mine, and you know, I'm humbled that I've been invited to so many different cool channels and podcasts and stuff. And this show is a lot of fun. So I look forward to hopefully being able to join again in the future.
You will come again.
I hope so. Twice.
Yes. No more.
But yeah, I hope, you know, if you guys hopefully chat, you know, you guys can come over, follow me on my channel over on YouTube. I do game streams generally on Sunday and Monday on my Rumble channel. And then YouTube, but I do sometimes I'll do a Tuesday night thing if Nick doesn't need me to come. And then and then
we need you not to come.
Yeah, right. And Wednesday I have my own show, panel show. It's called the Midweek Hump, where we just kind of talk about culture and politics sometimes, and just whatever is kind of going on, just to kind of get people through the week and have fun. We have guests on all the time. Nick, you've been on. I want to get everyone on, you know, and as we've seen over the past year.
On or off?
Oh, I want to get you off too, but
yes,
on to get off. But yeah, I've had so much fun with this whole journey of my own. And again, thanks to a lot of you guys for your support. A lot of people I recognize in the chat who have been very supportive. But yeah, Wednesday night's the big night over on my channel. Sunday, Monday, we do games. Right now I'm playing the Dead Space remake. And it's actually been a lot of fun. It's been really good. And then I don't know what I'm playing after that, but just trying to have fun and do fun things for people to enjoy. That's just what I do. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Panel, you guys have been awesome. That's it. Get me off this big screen. I'm ugly.
Oh, I'm gonna get
You're so sexy.
There.
We want to keep.
All right, hold up. All right. Seriously, guys. Once again, I'll be quick and to the point. Thank you to the chat. Sherry, Releasing McCracken, the memers. Appreciate you. Eric A. Wrenching. Thank you. Mark, you were wrenching too as well. Chat, new faces, old faces, super chats. You guys are freaking nuts on super chats. Thank you very much for that. To my panelists, 75 episodes. It's been fucking awesome. We are not even close to. We're just on the warm up, guys. We're just on the fucking warm up. See that shit? We're Scott Steinering this shit. We haven't even reached 1% of our capacity. So we're gonna be long, hard, and strong for years to come. So, anyways, next week we'll be off. We'll be back for Showdown Little Tokyo, followed by 3 straight weeks of John Wick. So until then, you can find me at Midnight's Edge After Dark with Comics Division. I'll have a video on Friday, and of course the Comic Shop Talking Infinity Gauntlet issue number 6. That's it, guys. And yes, when I come back in 2 weeks, I should finally have a Toxic Tuesday intro. Finally. Now, with that said, this is probably going to be the last episode or second without an outro. So we're going to say the bar is closed. It's time to go home. But thank you for being here. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.